Before we begin, if you enjoy drifting into peaceful worlds like this one, remember to subscribe, so the next time you need a moment of calm, you can find it waiting for you. Now, relax. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, and notice the soft shape of the space around you. Feel the air, just as it is, meeting your skin. If your eyes want to be heavy, let them be heavy. If they prefer a soft gaze, keep them soft and unfocused. There is nothing to do and nowhere to go. You are exactly where you need to be. Take a slow, comfortable breath in, and an even longer breath out. Again, in and out, letting the exhale be just a little longer than the inhale. Each breath is like a small tide, drawing in, gliding out, smoothing the shore of your mind. As the breath settles, invite your body to soften. Start at the crown of your head and imagine a gentle warm light like the glow from a faraway candle spreading slowly downward. It moves across your forehead, easing any lines. It travels over the eyes, the cheeks, down along the muscles near your ears. If the mind offers a thought, let it pass like a bird drifting across a dusk sky noticed and already gone. Let the warm light flow into your jaw. Loosen your tongue from the roof of your mouth and allow the jaw to feel pleasantly slack. Breathing in, breathing out, noticing how the neck lengthens just a little as it releases. That warmth spreads into the shoulders. They may feel as if they're melting a few millimeters away from your ears, sliding into a deeper rest. Picture your shoulders like smooth stones warmed by sun during the day, now gently cooling in the evening air. Allow the relaxation to spill down your arms, through the elbows, wrists, and into each fingertip. Imagine the weight of the day sliding right off, dripping away like cool water. Your hands rest easily, knowing they have nothing to hold for now. Let the warmth sink into your chest, expanding gently with every inhale, emptying softly with every exhale. Imagine the rhythm of your breath as a slow bellows feeding a hearth steady, patient, glowing. Feel the back soften, each vertebra settling a little deeper. The lower back unwinds, the hips release. Your legs become heavy, cradled by the surface beneath you, as though the earth itself were holding you safe. Now your awareness is calm and open, your body supported, your mind resting. We can step together into tonight's story. Our story tonight begins in a place hidden from most eyes. High within the gray stone walls of an old castle, this castle has seen many centuries, its towers weathered by wind, its gates worn by hands long gone. But within, beyond iron-banded doors and winding staircases, lies the Queen's hidden garden, a place that blooms only after dusk. When the sun sinks and the air cools, a quiet transformation stirs here. By day, the garden is modesta, few potted orange trees, rosemary in earthen jars, pale lavender bowing in the shade. But at night, under candlelight and the gentle warmth of braziers, the garden glows with life. You find yourself stepping into it now, feel the flagstones underfoot, still faintly warm from the afternoon sun. Above, the sky is deep indigo, the first stars trembling awake. Around you, the air is fragrant orange blossoms and rosemary drifting together, sweet and herbal, laced with the faintest trace of wood smoke from the braziers. Somewhere, water trickles in unseen fountains, sending its song into the night. You pause, letting your breath match its rhythm, the sound curling around you like a lullaby. The Queen believes, just as many nobles did long ago, that herbs and fruits grow sweeter when tended with gentle words. Her gardener, a silver-haired man with kind eyes, moves slowly among the plants. In one hand, a small pair of shears. In the other, a lantern glowing with beeswax light. He leans close to the rosemary, whispering something you cannot hear, and the leaves seem to rustle in reply. The lavender sways as he passes, releasing a breath of purple scent. The air feels alive, as if each plant is listening, dreaming, waiting for its turn to be noticed. In the distance, you hear the soft crackle of a brazier. The coals shift, sending up a faint ribbon of smoke. A gentle breeze stirs, carrying the warmth toward you, wrapping your shoulders in a tender heat. Somewhere above, an owl calls low, measured, unhurried. The sound is ancient, patient, as if it has marked every night the garden has ever known. Here, time moves differently. There is no rush, no demand, only the quiet rhythm of tending, breathing, resting. You take a step deeper into the garden, your fingertips brushing the cool leaves of a citrus tree. The skin of the fruit is dimpled, smooth yet rough in places, releasing a bright scent where the gardener has nicked it earlier that evening. You feel your breath slow again. In and out. With the garden's own pulse, at the far end, beneath an archway of climbing jasmine, there is a wooden bench. Its surface is worn smooth from years of use. You sit, the wood cool against you, and notice the way the candlelight flickers against the stone walls. Shadows sway gently, as if the walls themselves are breathing. You hear the faint clip of shears again, followed by the whisper of leaves falling to the ground. The gardener hums under his breath, a tune that seems half lullaby, half prayer. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the hum carry you. Here, in the Queen's night garden, even the smallest sound feels magnified, the soft pad of the gardener's steps. The brush of a sleeve against a pot, the sigh of the breeze through rosemary sprigs. All of it folds around you like a blanket, lulling you toward rest. And as the night deepens, the stars above lean closer, their light touching the garden in silver threads. The silver threads of starlight seem to weave themselves into the petals of the flowers, glimmering softly, as though the garden itself wears a crown of the night. You watch, half dreaming, as the glow deepens, warm candlelight below, blending with the cool, ancient light above. Somewhere beyond the walls, a faint wind sighs through the forest. But in here, it is only a whisper, softened by the high stone that shelters this place. The air feels still, safe. And every now and then, it carries with it a trace of something sweet, perhaps a fig ripening in a corner, or the deep green perfume of mint. The gardener has reached the far side of the garden now, where the rosemary grows thick and tall, like a miniature hedge. He kneels, setting down his lantern, and begins to work with slow precision. The tiny clip, clip, clip of his shears blends with the sound of your own breathing, a duet of rhythm and rest. You find your mind wandering not in the hurried, tangled way it does in daylight, but in slow, unspooling ribbons. You think of nothing in particular, just impressions. The way moonlight rests on old stone, the curve of a vine around a trellis, the sound of water trickling into a basin somewhere unseen. A gentle warmth rises from the brazier to your right, drifts toward you in waves, each one releasing the faint scent of charred wood and orange peel. You notice a small clay bowl placed near the coals, steam curling upward inside, sprigs of thyme, and lemon balms steep in warm water, their fragrance filling the air with a calm, herbal sweetness. The Queen herself sometimes comes here at night, the gardener once told you, though rarely and never when guests are present. She believes the plants grow better when they are not hurried by many footsteps, when their space remains quiet and still. You imagine her here perhaps, in a deep velvet cloak, moving between the trees, her hand trailing over the leaves. She might pause to breathe in the scent of a blossom, or to whisper to the lavender as the gardener does. The thought is like a dream soft, without a jizz, slipping in and out of your awareness. Your eyes close without you meaning to. In the darkness behind your lids, the sounds become even more vivid. You hear the tiny hiss as the brazier shifts, a faint ash falling to the stone below. You hear the smallest splash as a droplet falls from a leaf into the water of the unseen fountain. You hear the gardener's steps drawing nearer, slow and steady. And then, a pause. When you open your eyes again, he is standing just a few paces away, a small bundle of rosemary in one hand. Without a word, he sets it gently on the bench beside you, the leaves still holding the day's warmth. The scent rises immediately, peony, clean, and grounding. You breathe it in, letting it fill your senses, feeling each inhale grow slower, deeper. Notice, too, how the air feels cooler now. The night is settling more fully over the garden, the heat of the day entirely gone. Above, the stars are clearer, more numerous, the sky deepening toward black velvet. Somewhere in the shadows, a cricket begins its quiet, regular song. The gardener moves on, and you simply sit, the rosemary beside you like a silent companion. The weight of it on the bench is small, yet somehow comforting. You imagine the many hands over centuries that might have touched rosemary here, queens. Healers, cooks, perhaps even lovers who tucked a sprig into a letter or a braid of hair. A soft breeze passes through the arch of jasmine behind you, and you catch its sweetness for just a moment light, almost shy. The petals tremble in the dim light, and a few drift down, landing soundlessly on the flagstones. You lean back slightly, your shoulders resting against the bench. The wood feels solid, grounding you in the here and now. Every muscle has grown heavy, but in the most pleasant way, like a stone warmed by sun and cooled by night air, resting exactly where it belongs. The garden feels endless, though you know it is not large. It's the way the shadows fold into one another, the way the flicker of lantern and candle makes the edges of things blur. Time feels just as unmeasured. Moments could be minutes, or they could be hours. There is only the breath, the warmth, the quiet life of the plants, and the steady, loving work of the gardener. Somewhere you hear the faint rustle of leaves, not from wind, but from something soft brushing past them. You glance over and notice a small cat, its coat silver in the moonlight, weaving between the pots of herbs. It pauses to look at you, eyes bright and unhurried, before leaping lightly onto the bench at your side. It curls itself near the rosemary, tail wrapping around its body, and settles without a sound. You feel a faint vibration against your thigh, the purr so low, it's almost more a sensation than a sound. That rhythm joins the other quiet patterns of the night, and your mind drifts even further into stillness. The gardener passes once more, collecting a few sprigs of thyme and tucking them into a small woven basket. He glances at the cat, gives a faint smile, and continues toward the brazier. You hear the faint clink as he adjusts the coals, adding a piece of wood that catches with a low crackle. The warmth reaches you again, mingling with the coolness of the air on your face. It's the perfect balance, neither to warm nor to cool, just enough to keep the body at ease, to invite every muscle to stay loose. You close your eyes again, holding the scent of rosemary and wood smoke in your mind. You imagine the castle beyond these walls, silent corridors lit by torches, the occasional distant sound of a guard's footsteps on stone. The world beyond the gate is asleep, and so, slowly, is the world within. And here in the Queen's Night Garden, you are part of that rest, breathing, still and safe. The night deepens. The air is now cool enough that each breath feels fresh as it enters your lungs, yet still carries the lingering warmth from the braziers. You can hear the gardeness' different voices, the faint drip of water into the fountainess basin, the muted crackle of the fire, the whisper of leaves stirred by a passing breeze. Each sound seems spaced apart, with silences between them like soft velvet, giving you time to rest inside the quiet. The cat shifts beside you, curling into a tighter ball, its purr slowing into an almost imperceptible hum. You can feel the gentle rise and fall of its breathing, steady and calm, as though the two of you are breathing together. The rosemary scent continues to thread the air, grounding you in the moment. The gardener has begun another slow circuit of the garden, lantern swinging gently from his hand. His light sways across the flagstones, picking out details in brief flashes: orange's smooth skin, the silvery edges of lavender leaves, the pale star-shaped blossoms of jasmine. He stops at the far corner where the mint grows thick. Kneeling, he runs his hand gently across the top of the plants, brushing them with his fingertips. Even from where you sit, you catch the fresh, cool fragrance it releases, a scent that feels like a deep, refreshing breath after a long day. You lean back against the bench, letting that scent drift toward you. You imagine the leaves glistening in the moonlight, tiny drops of water catching the silver glow. In the corner of your mind, you remember stories of how mint was treasured in medieval times, not just for its taste, but for its believed powers to clear the mind and lift the spirit. You smile faintly at the thought, feeling that perhaps those stories were true. From somewhere above, you hear the slow toll of a bell. It's faint, perhaps from the castle's own tower, marking the late hour. The sound rolls across the garden like a low wave, then fades into the night. No one moves quickly here. The hour is only another measure of the garden's unhurried rhythm. The gardener approaches the brazier again, adding another small log. The flames catch softly, sending shadows dancing across the walls. You watch the flickering light play over the ancient stone, each block carrying centuries of quiet stories. Some stones are smooth from wear, others are rough, still marked from the mason's chisel. Your gaze drifts upward to the sky. The stars are brighter now, so many that it feels as if the entire heavens have bent low to watch over this hidden place. The moon hangs above the tallest tower, its light gentle, not overpowering the warm glow of the candles scattered through the garden. The faint scent of orange blossoms returns, mingling with the mint, rosemary, and smoke. You breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, you notice how your shoulders have sunk even lower, how your jaw feels soft and unheld, how your hands rest without tension. The gardener moves to the fountain at last, kneeling to adjust something at its base. The sound of water grows a little louder for a moment, like a cool thread winding through the warm fabric of the night. You imagine the water clear, rippling gently under the moon, nourishing the roots of the plants that circle the fountain's edge. After a while, he stands and begins to gather the tools he has used. The shears slip into a leather pouch. The small basket of herbs is placed near the brazier, and the lantern continues to sway gently from his hand. The cat lifts its head briefly to watch him pass, then lowers it again, content to remain curled by your side. You rest a hand lightly against its fur, feeling the softness beneath your fingertips. And in that moment, everything feels aligned. The garden's scents, the cool night air, the warmth at your side. The rhythm of the quiet tending. You can almost hear the plants breathing in their own slow, unseen way. It is not a sound exactly, but a sense, the way the leaves tilt slightly toward the lantern's glow, the way the blossoms open more fully in the cooler air, the way each stem seems to rest yet remain alive. The gardener pauses at the gate that leads deeper into the castle. For a moment, he looks back, across the garden, as if making sure each plant is exactly as it should be before he leaves. Satisfied, he lifts the latch, and the gate closes behind him with a sound no louder than a sigh. You are alone now, save for the cat and the quiet company of the plants. The garden does not change with his absence. It continues to breathe, to glow, to be, but there's a sense that it has settled into an even deeper stillness. Like a page turning into the slowest, most restful chapter. The brazier continues its low crackle, the fountain its soft trickle. The scents in the air mingle and change subtly as the night drifts forward. The cat shifts again, its fur brushing against the rosemary, releasing another faint wave of piney fragrance. You close your eyes once more, letting those scents, those sounds, those gentle sensations weave together. It feels as if they are tucking you in, not into a bed, but into the night itself, under a blanket of stars and quiet care. Here, in the Queen's Night Garden, the world has no urgency. There is only rest, and the knowledge that morning will come in its own time, and the plants will still be here, and the air will still hold their whispers. And for now, that is enough. The garden holds its breath in the stillness, as though every living thing within these walls has agreed to keep the night unbroken. The air is neither warm nor cold. Now it simply is, wrapping itself around you like a familiar shawl. You sense the way the quiet deepens, not from the absence of sound, but from the way each sound seems to fall into place, perfectly measured. The cat stirs. It stretches slowly, front paws extending until its tiny claws scrape softly against the wood of the bench. A yawn opens its mouth in a silent arc, and then it resettles, tucking its head against its flank. The rhythm of its breathing joins the garden's own steady, patient, timeless. You open your eyes just enough to glimpse the brazier. Its embers glow like small, hidden suns, each one breathing its own light. The flames have grown low now, licking gently at the edges of the wood, sending out only the occasional crackle. The smell of smoke has mellowed into something softer, more like the scent that clings to a wool cloak after a night spent near a campfire. A faint movement catches your attention. On the far wall, the vines have shifted slightly, stirred by a breath of air that slipped through a narrow window slit above. The moonlight through that slit makes a thin silver ribbon on the stone, touching a cluster of jasmine blooms that gleam like porcelain against the dark. You think of the Queen again, how she might walk here in the early hours, her hand brushing that same bloom. Perhaps she would pause, just as you have, to take in its fragrance and let it settle her mind before returning to her chambers. You imagine the soft whisper of her gown's fabric against the flagstones, the glimmer of a small candle in her hand. The fountain sings on. Its water catches the light in small ripples, like liquid silver folding over itself. Each drop that falls into the basin makes a sound you could almost count slow enough that you feel your own heartbeat falling into step with it. A cool current of air passes through the garden now, touching your face like a gentle hand. It carries with it the mingled scents of mint and lavender, a combination that feels both calming and clear. You breathe it in deeply, noticing how it seems to sweep away the last fragments of thought lingering in your mind. You close your eyes again and feel yourself sinking, not in the sense of falling, but in the way a pebble might settle softly into a bed of moss at the bottom of a still pond. Every muscle knows exactly how to rest. Somewhere in the distance, beyond the castle walls, an owl calls again, 3 low notes that fade into the darkness. You picture it in flight, its wings silent, moving easily through the cool air above the forest. In some small way, it feels as though its path circles the garden, guarding it from the night beyond. Your attention drifts back to the rosemary sprig beside you. You lift it gently, turning it between your fingers, feeling the slight stickiness of its oils. You hold it near your face, breathing in once more, and the sharp, green scent seems to awaken a memory you didn't know you carried. A warm kitchen somewhere, the sound of bread being sliced, the flicker of firelight on walls. The memory lingers only a moment, then dissolves, leaving only the present peace. The cat shifts again, its tail brushing against your hand. It seems to sense your slowing heartbeat, your loosened breath. It kneads the wood of the bench a few times, then curls into an even smaller ball, purring softly again. That sound is almost hypnotic, a perfect thread in the garden's quiet weave. Above, the moon has climbed higher, touching the tops of the citrus trees with pale light.
Ow.
The fruit glows faintly, as though lit from within. A drop of dew clings to one leaf, catching the lantern's dying glow, and for a moment it looks like a star caught among the branches. You sense that the night is well past its midpoint. The world beyond these walls is deep in sleep. The streets of the nearby village will be dark, the fields silvered by moonlight, the forest paths winding in silence. But none of that touches you here. Here you are held by stone and leaf and starlight, by the warmth of the brazier and the softness of the air, by the simple companionship of a small sleeping cat. The brazier gives one last bright crackle as a log settles into ash. A faint trail of smoke curls upward, twisting gently before vanishing into the night. The scent lingers, mingling with the herbs, with the night air, the faint saltiness that sometimes comes from old stone. You let your eyes close fully now. The weight of your body is familiar, anchored, and safe. The sounds become more distant, not gone, but softened, as though you're listening through layers of warm cloth. You are aware, dimly, of the fountain's voice, of the rustle of a leaf, of the cat's slow breathing. They join together in a rhythm that feels eternal, as if it's been here since the first stone of the castle was laid and will remain long after. And in that rhythm you rest. The hours slip away unnoticed. There's no sense of time here, only the steady flow of night, like water moving beneath ice, slow and unseen. Your breath is calm now, matching the gentle pulse of the garden. The fountain speaks in its soft, repeating language. The brazier, nearly spent, glows in its heart like a single coal left at the edge of a fire. The cat sleeps so still that its rise and fall is barely there, its warmth a small, steady anchor beside you. The stone walls hold the night in place, their ancient surfaces darkened in shadow. Now and then, the wind outside passes by the narrow slits high above, and the faintest note of its voice enters, a sound like fabric sighing in a draught, quickly swallowed again by the still air within. Somewhere far off in the castle, a door closes. The sound reaches you faintly, carried through layers of stone and quiet corridors, so distant it feels almost imagined. You picture a watchman making his slow rounds, lantern in hand, eyes soft with the drowsiness of the late hour. In the garden, everything remains unchanged. The air cool, the scents gentle, the peace unbroken. You lift the rosemary sprig once more, brushing your thumb along the tiny needle-like leaves. A fresh wave of fragrance rises, sharp yet soothing, mixing with the lingering smoke from the brazier. It's a scent that seems to settle not just into the air, but into the very rhythm of your breath. You think of how many nights this garden must have seen, seasons passing in slow circles, the hands of many gardeners tending these same plants, the moon rising and setting over the same stone walls. It's as though you've stepped into a living memory, and for now, you are part of its story. A soft rustle draws your eyes toward the fountain. A small moth flutters above the water, its pale wings catching both moonlight and the glow of the last candle nearby. It moves without hurry, touching down for a heartbeat on the lip of the stone basin, then lifting again into the night. You lean your head back and let your gaze drift upward. The sky is as deep and clear as it will be all night. The stars seem endless, so many that the dark between them is only the soft fabric holding them in place. The moonlight has cooled, it's angled gentler now, silvering the tops of the plants and casting the rest of the garden into a tender shade. The air changes slightly. A faint mist seems to form, not enough to cloud your view, but enough to give the candlelight a halo. You breathe it in. Taste faintly of stone, of water, of something untouched and pure. The cat stirs, stretching one paw toward the rosemary. It brushes the leaves, releasing their scent again. Purr returns, faint but steady. Like the low hum of a lullaby you don't quite remember the words to. Somewhere overhead, a bird shifts in its roost, perhaps a dove, perhaps a small nightingale, settling itself more comfortably in the crook of a high branch. The sound is soft, a tiny shuffle of feathers and wood. The stillness of the garden begins to feel even deeper now, as though the world is holding a long, contented breath before dawn. Your own breathing matches it without effort, in and out. Slow, unhurried, each exhale carrying you further into the quiet. You imagine the queen's chambers above, a balcony perhaps, looking down toward this very garden. You picture her sleeping as the moon drifts across the sky, her dreams carrying the same fragrance you breathe now. As if the garden's peace could rise like incense and fill the entire castle with rest. A faint glimmer catches your attention near the wall, a droplet of water sliding down a leaf. It falls to the stone and vanishes without sound, but you can almost feel its coolness in your mind, as though the garden has shared a small, private moment with you. The embers in the brazier shift again, settling lower, their glow now deep in the center. The warmth has lessened, but the night air is still kind, wrapping around you without chill. Every part of you feels at ease. Your legs rest heavily, your hands loose, your shoulders soft. Even your thoughts seem to move more slowly, as if they too have curled up to sleep. You sense that the garden could hold you like this forever, a place where nothing rushes, where every breath belongs to the present, and the night unfolds like a story told with infinite patience. In the soft darkness, you know you could drift into sleep here without a single disturbance, the sounds and scents cradling you like a gentle tide. The cat would stay near, the fountain would sing on, and the stars would keep watch until morning. And with that thought, you feel yourself floating just a little further into the embrace of the Queen's night garden. The night is old now, not weary, but settled deep into its quiet. You feel as though you've drifted far from the world outside the castle walls, into a place that exists only between one breath and the next. The embers in the brazier have dimmed to a deep ruby glow. They no longer flicker, they simply rest, sending out a faint heat that mingles with the cool air in small, gentle waves. The scent of smoke has become a memory in the air. Still there if you search for it, but content to fade beneath the rosemary, the mint, the lavender. The cat shifts against you, stretching one paw into the night, then curling back into its warm shape. Its purr is softer now, almost part of the silence, as if it too is being carried into dreams. You let your head tilt slightly, shoulder against the smooth curve of the bench. The wood feels cool where it touches your skin, and there's a faint scent of age in it. The kind that speaks of countless seasons of holding visitors in this same quiet. Somewhere in the distance, the owl calls again, just once, a low, hollow note that folds into the darkness and is gone. You imagine it perched in the high bough of an oak, its eyes watchful, its head turning slowly to take in the night. The fountain is softer now too. Its trickle is steady, but your mind has grown so accustomed to it that it feels like part of your own breathing, in and out. Water over stone, stone beneath water. The air changes ever so slightly. It's not warmer, not yet, but it carries a new subtlety, a hint that somewhere, far beyond these walls, the black of night is beginning to thin. You open your eyes slowly. The stars are still bright, but there's the faintest paling of the sky along one edge of the walls. Not light exactly, but the absence of complete darkness. The moon, once high, now hangs closer to the far tower, its light silvering the upper leaves of the citrus trees. The garden feels as though it knows. Plants do not stir. They have no need. But there's a sense of expectation in the stillness, like the final lines of a song before it resolves. You bring the rosemary sprig to your face again, closing your eyes as you breathe it in. This time, the scent feels warmer, as though the memory of sunlight it holds is stirring in anticipation of the real thing. The cat shifts, blinking its eyes half open, then letting them fall shut again. Its tail flicks once, then stills. Beyond the walls, a faint sound reaches you, a rooster, far off. Its call softened by distance, until it is no more than a thread of the coming morning. It does not break the peace here, it only adds to it, a gentle reminder that the world is slowly waking elsewhere. The embers in the brazier are almost gone now. Only a few small points of light remain, each one pulsing faintly as the wood beneath them turns to ash. The warmth is barely there, but the night air is so mild that it feels right. As though the garden itself is exhaling the last of its stored heat before dawn, the fountain remains constant. Sound is a promise that even when the night ends, this place will keep its rhythm. It has done so for generations, through countless nights just like this. You rest your hands in your lap, feeling the weight of your body entirely supported by the bench. By the ground beneath, by the walls enclosing you, every muscle has let go. There is no tension left anywhere. Your mind drifts again to the queen. Perhaps she, too, wakes just before dawn. To look out on her garden, perhaps she likes to see it in this in-between moment. When the candles still burn low, and the stars have not yet fully surrendered to the light, you can almost see her leaning on the balcony railing, the cool air touching her face. Her eyes on the same rosemary bush, the same fountain, the same stone paths. The sky's paling grows a little more. It is still far from sunrise, but the deep black has lifted into a softer blue, like ink fading in a wash of water. The stars near the horizon are dimming, while those above still shine sharp. You know that soon the first light will slip over the wall, but for now the garden belongs entirely to the night. It's a time so quiet and rare that you feel it could last forever if you simply don't look away. The cat sighs an almost human sound and stretches long before curling back up. Its warmth seeps into your side, reminding you that you are still here, still safe, still part of the garden's slow unfolding story. You close your eyes once more, letting the scents and sounds fold over you like the softest blanket. Your breathing is steady, your thoughts gentle. Your body is heavy as stone, yet lighter than air. Here in the Queen's Night Garden, you are not counting minutes or hours. You are simply being. And in the quiet between night and morning, that is all there is. The sky is shifting now. It's not a sudden change, but a slow seep of pale color into the edges of the dark. The stars along the horizon bow out one by one, slipping back into the unseen. While those above still linger like tiny guardians, holding the last of the night in place, the moon, heavy and low, casts its silver across the garden for just a little longer. Its glow paints the rosemary in cool light, turns the mint leaves into soft mirrors, and lays a thin gleam along the lip of the fountain's basin. The water seems to carry both moon and sky, reflecting a world that is already changing. You hear the first real stirrings from beyond the castle walls, still far away. A creak of wood, a single cartwheel turning on the village road, a muffled bark of a dog that quickly falls silent. Each sound feels gentle, as though the day itself is reluctant to break the garden's spell. The cat has shifted again, rolling onto its side with its paws tucked loosely in front of it. Its whiskers twitch once, then still, and the faintest purr rumbles in its chest, as if it's dreaming of something warm and familiar. The embers in the brazier are nearly gone now. Only one remains, glowing faintly like the last lantern in a long, quiet hall. There's no more heat reaching you from it, but the air remains soft and mild. Touched by the promise of the sun that hasn't yet arrived, the scents are changing too. The rosemary is still sharp and grounding, the mint still cool and clean, but there's a new thread now, a faint dampness, the smell of dew settling over stone and leaf. It carries the freshness of early morning, a signal that the world is resetting itself for the day ahead. The fountain's voice seems clearer in the thinning night. Without the weight of darkness around it, its trickle feels lighter, almost playful, as though the water is waking up as well. You realize you've been breathing with its rhythm all this time, and without thinking, you match it again now. In. Water falls out. Water flows. You lift the rosemary sprig one last time. Its leaves are cool with a trace of dampness. The oil's less intense now, but still holding the same familiar scent. It feels like a final good night from the garden before the day arrives. Somewhere another rooster calls, closer than the last, its sound carrying easily over the still quiet world. A bird in the garden answers. A single, tentative chirp from the jasmine archway, then falls silent again, as though testing the air before committing to the song of morning. The faint blue in the sky deepens. It's not yet the gold of sunrise, but the color has gained weight and shape. The shadows in the garden are softening, losing their sharp edges. The stone walls look less like silhouettes and more like what they are. Ancient surfaces, worn and alive with tiny patterns carved by centuries of wind and hand. The cat sits up now, blinking slowly at the changing light. It stretches, shakes once, and hops down from the bench without a sound. Its paws make no mark on the flagstones, only a memory of movement as it disappears into the shadows near the fountain. You sit for a moment longer, letting the cool air brush against your face. You can feel the tiniest warmth beginning to gather. Not yet sunlight, but the hush before it arrives, when the air holds both night and day at once. The world outside the walls is waking faster now. A few more bird calls, a distant murmur of voices, the sound of something wooden being set down on stone. But here, inside the Queen's Night Garden, the change is gentler. It's a slow exhale, a passing of the torch from moon to sun. Your eyes follow the highest point of the wall, where the sky is lightest. It's the first thread of gold will come from there. It feels close now, minutes away, and though part of you longs for the night to last, another part is ready to see how this secret place looks in the first light of day. You close your eyes again, taking in the scents one more time, listening to the soft sounds, letting the stillness wrap itself around you like the last blanket of sleep. When you open them, you know the garden will be different. Not less beautiful, but changed, just as every living thing changes when day touches it. And so you wait, breathing slowly, resting in the last quiet moments before the morning spills over the wall. The first light arrives not as a sudden burst, but as a soft stroke along the edge of the highest wall. A pale gold, thin as a breath, creeping over the stone like liquid warmth. It touches the leaves first, the upper branches of the citrus trees glowing faintly, dew catching in tiny beads that scatter the light. The rosemary, still in shadow where you sit, waits quietly for its turn. You can almost feel the plants leaning toward the warmth, their night-long stillness giving way to a slow, quiet stretch. The garden shifts in tone. Shadows lose their deep blue and take on softer grays. The fountain's surface reflects the growing light, its ripples bending the gold into moving ribbons. The sound of water hasn't changed, yet somehow it feels fresher now, as if it too has woken from a deep sleep. From the jasmine arch, a small bird calls again, this time twice in quick succession. Another answers from somewhere near the wall. Soon there's a scattering of notes, not yet the full chorus of morning, but a delicate prelude. The cat returns silently, padding along the flagstones with the ease of something born in quiet places. Its fur carries the faint dampness of the morning air. It glances at you, then hops onto the bench, curling into the same place it claimed during the night. But its eyes remain open now, watching the light move across the garden as though it's an old friend arriving. The warmth of the sun begins to gather. It slips lower down the wall, reaching the tops of the rosemary bushes. Tiny drops of dew along their needles sparkle briefly, and their scent sharpens again, released into the air as the moisture warms away. The fragrance is richer now, not the cool, silvery note of night rosemary, but a rounder, sunlit aroma. The brazier is cold, its embers gray and still. A faint trace of smoke has all but vanished, leaving the air clean and open. You notice the way the scents shift without it, the herbs stronger now. The damp stone carrying a faint mineral freshness, the citrus trees adding a subtle sweetness. The Queen's Garden in the day is beginning to reveal itself. You can see the texture of the walls more clearly now. Each stone a slightly different shade of brown and gray. Moss gathering in the tiny crevices. The pots of herbs show their true colors. Mint deep green and lush. Lavender soft purple with silvery stems. Thyme a tangle of tiny leaves in pale green. The fountain catches a fuller light. You can see the arc of water more clearly now, each droplet like a bead of glass before it falls into the basin. The ripples widen, touching the edges of the stone, then returning to the center in a soft, endless dance. Beyond the walls, the day grows louder. A cartwheel on the road, a low murmur of conversation, the creak of a wooden shutter opening somewhere in the village. But the garden remains calm, its stone walls holding the noise at a respectful distance. The cat shifts again, stretching luxuriously in the sun's first warmth. It steps down from the bench, pads over to the rosemary, and rubs its cheek against the leaves before settling beneath them. You can hear the faintest rustle as it moves, the leaves brushing together in greeting. Your eyes close for a moment. Sun's warmth on your face is soft, like a hand cupping your cheek. The scents of morning herbs wrap around you: rosemary, mint, citrus, lavender, all mixing in a way that feels both grounding and bright. When you open your eyes again, the light has reached you, spills over the bench, washing your lap in gold, making the rosemary sprig beside you glow as though lit from within. The day has arrived fully in the Queen's night garden. The world beyond will continue to wake. The village will stir to its work, the castle will open its gates, and footsteps will once again cross the stones outside these walls. But here, for now, the peace remains untouched. You take one last deep breath, feeling the night's calm still within you, blending with the day's new energy. The garden has given you both the deep rest of darkness and the gentle promise of morning. The cat blinks up at you once, then lowers its head into the rosemary's shadow. Its purr returns, low and steady, as if to say the day can begin. But the heart of the garden will always be here, waiting for night to fall again. And as you rise slowly, without breaking the quiet, you carry the stillness with you, like the lingering scent of rosemary on your hands. The garden is no longer a place of deep shadows, but of soft, layered light. Everywhere you look, the gold of the morning slips into corners that, moments ago, belonged only to the night. The citrus trees glow in their full color now. Their leaves are rich, shining green. Their fruit warm-toned and dappled with sunlight. Tiny specks of dust drift lazily in the beams that fall between the branches, turning in the air like slow golden snow. The rosemary's needles are bright now, each tipped with the faint sparkle of dew still clinging in the sheltered spots. The scent that rises from them in the warmth is stronger than ever. You can almost imagine how it will infuse the air for the rest of the day, a steady note beneath the shifting chorus of other fragrances. The fountain's water looks clearer than it did in the moonlight. You can see its shallow basin. The smooth stones beneath, a small curl of green moss on one side. The ripples are still constant, catching the light in moving rings that shimmer and dissolve in quiet rhythm. The cat has stretched itself out along the sun-warmed stones near the fountain. Its fur now holds a golden sheen where the light touches it, and its eyes are half closed, fighting that comfortable drowsiness that comes when warmth replaces the cool of the night. It yawns without sound, showing a small, perfect set of teeth, then rests its chin on its paws. You can hear more of the world beyond now, a faint metallic ring of a far-off blacksmith beginning his work. The call of a voice greeting another across the village road, the distant clop of a single horse passing. The sounds are gentle, not intruding, like the outer verses of a song that the garden still keeps to itself. The sun climbs slowly, its rays slipping down the garden wall and pooling on the flagstones at your feet. Where the light meets the damp patches from the night's dew, tiny wisps of steam rise and curl upward, vanishing in the morning air. The jasmine arch, once just a pale shape in the dark, is now in full bloom, its petals open to the sun. The scent has changed, less shy now, more confident in the daylight. You breathe it in, noticing how it sits alongside the sharper rosemary and the fresh mint, creating a fragrance both sweet and green. You shift on the bench, feeling the warmth seep into your back from the sunlit wood. The muscles in your body are loose from the hours of stillness. Every movement feels unhurried, deliberate, as though the garden itself has taught you the pace of the day. The Queen's night garden is becoming her morning garden. You imagine how it must look from her balcony now. The neat rows of herbs, the glow of the citrus trees, the faint movement of water catching the sun. Perhaps she has stepped to her window, taking in the same scene you see, her own breath slowing as she lets it settle into her. The bird in the jasmine arch calls again, this time joined by others. The air fills with their layered notes, some quick and bright, others long and clear. It's not loud. The sound seems to weave into the air rather than sit on top of it. The brazier stands cold and still, its ash pale and fine, holding the shape of the wood that once burned there. It's easy to imagine how it will be cleaned and set again by nightfall. ready to cradle another quiet fire when the moon returns. The light reaches further across the garden now, touching the last places that held on to the night. The rosemary sprig beside you is fully lit, its color vivid, its scent lifting in small waves whenever the breeze stirs it. You take it in your hands, rolling it gently between your fingers. The oils cling to your skin, and when you bring your hands to your face, the scent feels like a bridge. One foot still in the night's peace, the other stepping into the day's life. The cat rises and stretches again, then walks toward the archway. Pausing just before passing under it, it looks back at you, blinking slowly before slipping into the shaded path beyond. Its tail is the last thing you see, curving out of sight. The garden is yours alone now, just as it was in the middle of the night. But the solitude is different. It's not wrapped in darkness anymore, but in light that holds the same gentleness. As if the garden has decided that even in day, it will remain a place of calm. You breathe in deeply, letting the warmth of the sun sink into your skin. Somewhere, a door opens in the castle, and faint footsteps echo for a moment before fading again. The day will call soon, but here, you have a little longer, enough time to carry the memory of this night and this morning with you. Woven into the rhythm of your own breath, you glance once more at the fountain, at the rosemary, at the place where the cat lay in the sun. And you know that when night comes again, the garden will return to its candlelit hush, ready to hold another stretch of hours just as it did tonight. The morning is fully awake now, but the garden still feels as if it's moving at its own quiet pace, a step slower than the world beyond the walls, as if it wishes to linger in the memory of the night a little longer. The sunlight has reached every corner. No patch of shadow remains untouched, though some are softer, muted beneath the rosemary and lavender where the warmth seeps in only gradually. The air is light and clean, and when you breathe deeply, you taste the faint coolness left behind by the hours of darkness. The fountain glimmers in full light now. Its basin is like a shallow bowl of liquid glass, and the ripples are silver and gold at once. I can see tiny shapes within the water, perhaps fallen petals from the jasmine arch, perhaps a single floating leaf. Turning slowly in the gentle current, beyond the walls the village day is beginning in earnest. You hear more voices now, a door being opened wide, the sharper ring of a hammer on metal, and the rolling of a wheel over stone, yet none of it feels intrusive. It's as if the garden's walls hold an invisible veil that softens every sound, letting only the peaceful parts drift through. The rosemary in your hand has warmed under your fingers. Its scent is deep now, the oil released fully, a mixture of earth, pine, and sunlight. You brush the leaves one last time, feeling the small, firm texture under your thumb. The cat has not returned, but you imagine it somewhere in the castle grounds. Slipping between pools of sunlight, finding another quiet corner to doze in. You think about how easily it belongs here, as much a part of the place as the plants in the stone. The breeze carries a change, the faintest suggestion of baking bread from the kitchens. It mingles with the herbs and makes you think of hearths and warm tables, reminders that the day, too, can hold its comforts. You let your gaze wander along the wall, noticing the vines in their full daylight green, the small patches of moss, the way some stones have worn smooth, while others keep the sharp edges of their carving. These walls have seen centuries of nights like the one you've just lived, centuries of mornings just like this. Your thoughts are slow and steady. There's no rush, no list of what must come next. Here, in this place, the present moment is enough. You look once more toward the highest part of the wall. The sky above it is clear, the pale blue deepening with the sun's climb. A few wisps of cloud drift lazily across, casting shadows that pass quickly over the garden. The jasmine glows in the light, its petals soft and open, ready to share their scent through the warmer hours ahead. You lean closer, breathing it in deeply, letting it mix with the rosemary's sharper note still lingering in your hand. In the distance, you hear the castle's morning bell. The sound is full, richer than the faint toll you heard in the night, and it rolls through the air like a slow wave. It feels like the garden's own quiet nod to the new day. You stand slowly, stretching in the gentle warmth. Your feet feel solid on the flagstones, and there's a grounded ease in your body, the kind that comes from hours of stillness wrapped in safety. Before you leave, you turn once more to take in the whole of the garden. The citrus trees with their glowing fruit, the lavender standing in soft purple clusters, the rosemary hedge, the fountain still singing its endless song. Every part of it is lit now, alive in the day, yet holding the soul of the night's quiet within it. You know you'll return here again, perhaps under the moon, perhaps in the same hour before dawn, to feel that stillness again, to hear the soft clip of the gardener's shears, to watch the stars rest over the walls. For now, you take one last deep breath, filling your lungs with rosemary, jasmine, and morning air. The scent settles into you like a memory, something you'll carry long after you've stepped away. When you walk toward the gate, your steps are slow, not because you are reluctant to leave, but because you want to keep the rhythm of the garden in your stride, the unhurried pulse of a place that knows how to be at peace. The latch lifts with a soft click. You step through and the sounds of the waking castle greet you. Footsteps on stone, a distant laugh, the clink of pottery. But within you, the garden remains. A quiet space you can return to at will, where night lingers, and dawn arrives like a gentle hand on the shoulder as you move into the day. You carry the night garden's calm with you, woven into every breath. The corridor beyond the garden is cool and shaded, but the warmth of the sun lingers on your skin, like a soft thread tying you back to where you've just been. Your footsteps echo gently here, a sound unlike the muffled quiet of the garden, still unhurried, still wrapped in the peace you carry. You pass a narrow window slit, and through it you catch one last glimpse of the rosemary hedge. Even from here, you can almost imagine the faint scent drifting up, blending with the stone's cool aroma. It feels like a final wave goodbye from the plants themselves. The sounds of the castle morning grow nearer, a broom sweeping softly across a flagstone floor, the gentle clatter of pottery being set out for breakfast, the muted creak of a door swinging open. Each sound arrives as if cushioned, as though the calm of the garden has wrapped itself around them too. As you move through the hall, your mind doesn't rush ahead. There's no sense of needing to be anywhere else just yet. You remain in the rhythm of the garden's night and dawn, slow, deliberate, spacious. You imagine the gardener now, perhaps sitting in a small alcove with a cup of warm broth, resting after his work, his hands still faintly scented with mint and lavender. The thought is as soothing as the garden itself, knowing that care continues quietly, that the plants are safe in his keeping until the night comes again. Another window opens to the courtyard, where light spills in more brightly. You pause there for a moment, letting the breeze move across your face. It carries the faintest traces of village life. Bread baking, a cart passing, and somewhere far off, the sound of a bell marking another hour. But even as the day builds, you feel no rush to join its busyness. The night garden has given you something different. A slow pulse that can move through the day like a hidden current. Calm and steady beneath whatever comes. You think back to the moments under moonlight. The gardener's lantern swinging between the plants, the silver of the citrus leaves, the trickle of the fountain in the dark. They feel close still, not faded like most dreams in daylight. Perhaps that's because they weren't a dream at all. They were real, and they live in you now. As you turn a corner, the hall opens into a quieter room, its windows half-shuttered, letting in only strips of light. The wooden beams above are warm from years of sun, and the air smells faintly of beeswax and old books. It's a place where you could sit for a while without disturbance, just letting the memory of the garden play in your mind. You settle into a chair by the wall. Its surface is smooth and worn, the kind of wood that has been polished more by time and touch than by tools. Your body knows how to rest here without thought. Legs loose, shoulders soft, breath easy. In the quiet of this room, you revisit the garden in your mind. The way the cat's fur caught the moonlight. The way the rosemary needles shone with dew in the morning. The way the air shifted so subtly as dawn approached. Each detail is still sharp, and as you picture them, you feel the same sense of being held, safe and unhurried. Your breathing slows again, falling back into the pace of the fountain's trickle. In, water falls. Out, water flows. It's almost as if you never left, as though the garden's peace has followed you into this space, filling it with the same golden stillness. Outside the shuttered windows, a bird calls, clear and bright, a note that seems to hang in the air for a moment before fading. You can imagine it perching on the garden wall, singing into the same morning light you saw there, Close your eyes and the light through the shutters feels warm on your skin. The scent of the rosemary in your memory is so vivid that you can almost believe it lingers here in the room. The cat's soft purr seems to hum in your ears, steady, comforting. Like the earth itself breathing slowly beneath you. Could rise now, step into the day and carry the rhythm of the garden with you. Or you could stay just as you are, letting the warmth and the memory keep you here a little longer. Half in the waking world, half in the candlelit quiet of the night garden. The choice doesn't need to be made quickly. In this moment, the day will wait for you. And when you do move forward, you'll take the calm with you, woven into every step, into every breath. The Queen's Garden will remain, holding the night for those who need its stillness, welcoming the dawn for those who wish to see its gentleness unfold. And you, having walked there, will always carry a part of it inside you, a place to return to whenever the world feels too fast. For now, you rest. The sunlight is soft, the air is still, and the memory of rosemary and moonlight wraps itself around you like a second skin. Settle even more deeply now. Let the sounds of the day, faint and distant, fade into the background until they are no more than a soft hum, something far away, unable to reach you here. The chair beneath you feels steady, its solid weight grounding you in the present moment. Your body knows there is nothing it needs to do. You can release every remaining trace of effort, letting muscles loosen as if they've been gently unwound. Your breathing is slow and steady, in and out, each exhale carrying away the last threads of tension. You can almost feel those threads dissolve into the warm air, leaving only calm in their place. In your mind, you step once more into the Queen's Night Garden. Even though the day has come, the memory brings back the soft glow of candles, the warm scent of rosemary, the cool brush of mint in the air. You hear the fountain's voice again, steady, endless, like the heartbeat of the garden itself. You see the cat curled in its place by the rosemary hedge, its sides rising and falling in a rhythm that matches your own. The braziers still give off a faint warmth in this memory, their glow not yet faded. Moonlight rests on the stone walls, and the shadows are deep and gentle. With each breath, this picture becomes more vivid. You are back on the wooden bench, the stone paths quiet under the night sky, the stars above scattered like silver seeds. The air is still, carrying nothing but the scents of the herbs and the faint sweetness of orange blossom. The garden's calm begins to fill every corner of your awareness. There is nothing else. No weight of time, no noise from beyond the walls, only the peace of this place, settled deep into its roots, patient and eternal. You feel the way the cool night air touches your face and the way the warm glow of the brazier rests against your skin. The balance between them is perfect, like being held between two gentle hands. The fountain's sound becomes your anchor now. Each droplet is a moment, and each moment is soft and endless. You drift with it, carried along by its flow, letting thoughts pass like leaves on the water, noticed and then gone. In this space, the mind does not need to plan or measure. It only rests, like a stone at the bottom of a clear pool, untouched by the ripples above. The cat's purr returns, a low, steady hum that seems to vibrate through the bench, through the ground, through your body itself. It's as if the whole garden is breathing with you, supporting each inhale and exhale. The moon in this memory is full now, its light pooling in silver on the tops of the rosemary, the lavender, the citrus leaves. You could stay here forever, in this perfect balance of light and shadow, warmth and coolness, silence and the soft living sounds of the garden. Let your eyelids grow heavier, feel the weight of them, and the comfort that comes with letting them close fully. Behind them, the garden still blooms, more vivid now that you see it with your mind's eye. Every breath deepens your rest. Your body is completely supported, and your mind drifts like a slow-moving cloud. You are safe here, cradled by the garden's ancient walls, by the soft rustle of leaves, by the steady song of water over stone, if you wish. You can imagine the gardener walking through now, his lantern swaying gently, casting warm circles of light on the paths. He moves without sound, checking each plant with quiet care, ensuring all is as it should be. When he reaches your bench, he gives the smallest nod, a silent acknowledgement that you belong here too, and you do. This is your place now. A sanctuary in the mind, that you can return to any time you need rest. It will always be waiting, just beyond the threshold of a deep, slow breath. The fountain will still be flowing, the rosemary still growing, the cat still dreaming in its chosen spot. Night will always be holding the garden in gentle hands, and you will always be welcome. Now let the scene grow softer. Let the edges blur until it is only a feeling, a deep, steady peace that rests at the center of you. Your breathing is slow, your body is heavy and warm, your mind is calm. You are ready to drift fully now, to let go completely. Carried by the garden's timeless stillness into the quiet space where dreams begin. The garden fades, but its calm stays with you, woven into your breath, settled deep in your bones. And as you sink into this rest, you know that when you wake, the memory will be there, ready to guide you back whenever you need. For now, you are at peace. The world can wait. You are home in the quiet. Let yourself sink now, deeper. Every part of you is heavy, warm, and safe. There is nothing left to hold, nothing to keep upright, nothing to do but let the weight of your body be carried entirely by the surface beneath you. Your breathing finds that slow, perfect rhythm, a tide moving in and out, effortless, steady, endless, in and out. And with each breath, you drift further away from the edges of the waking world. The garden is still with you, but it's softer now. Not every leaf or stone in focus, but a warm blur of color, scent, and sound. The rosemary's green folds into the lavender's purple. The fountain's silver trickle blends with the hush of night air, and above it all, the moon glows like a single thought in the middle of a dream. You feel as though you are lying beneath that sky, your head tilted back to rest against the wooden bench, your eyes closed and your senses open. The cat is there too. A soft, steady warmth near your side, its quiet purr like a hidden thread of music in the air. The world beyond the garden's walls is gone. There are no roads, no voices, no duties, no clocks. It's only this place, only this moment. The air is cool, but carries a subtle warmth from the last embers in the brazier. You can almost see them, a small core of ruby light at the bottom of the ash, breathing gently, not fading, but resting. That ember feels like your own calm now, steady, glowing quietly, needing no effort to remain. You imagine the gardener has finished his rounds, his tools put away, his lantern dimmed. The garden is left entirely to you, entrusted to your rest. Its peace wrapping around you like a cloak. Above the stars tilt slowly across the sky, an unhurried drift that has no beginning or end. They seem to hum faintly, not a sound you can hear, but a vibration you can feel deep inside. The same way you feel the fountain's pulse, the same way you feel your own heart in your chest. With each breath, you let your body grow heavier. Heaviness isn't burden, it's release. A sweet surrender to gravity, to safety, to stillness. You picture the garden's scents as threads of light, rosemary a deep green, lavender a soft violet, mint a cool silver blue, jasmine a pale gold. They drift together in the air, curling around you, weaving a cocoon of fragrance that feels warm and protective. Somewhere the fountain sends a single droplet higher than the rest, and you hear it land in the basin, a sound so small and perfect that it feels like the punctuation to a sentence you don't need to read aloud. You let your mind drift lower, as if you are lying back in warm water. The surface cradling you, the weight of your body disappearing. There's no need to move, no need to open your eyes. The garden will hold its shape without you watching. Time here is different. Longer, wider, as though each moment stretches out to hold you for as long as you need. There's no hurry for the moon to set, no hurry for the dawn to arrive. This is the deep night of the mind, where you can stay for hours in what feels like minutes. If you wish, you can walk the garden paths in your mind, touching the smooth rim of the fountain, feeling the cool, rounded stones of the wall under your fingertips, trailing your hand along the rosemary hedge. Every step is silent, every breath matched by the garden's own quiet exhale. Or you can simply remain seated, eyes closed, soaking in the air and the scents, letting them carry you wherever they wish. The cat shifts once more, turning a slow circle before settling again. Its purr resumes steady, reassuring, ancient in its constancy. It's the sound of belonging, of being exactly where you are meant to be. Your mind is floating now, between waking and sleep, between the conscious and the dream. The edges blur until you're not sure if the garden is a memory, a dream, or the place you are truly in at this very moment. And perhaps it doesn't matter. Here everything is as it should be. The moonlight softens further. The embers dim one shade more. The fountain's voice grows distant, as though you are sinking deeper under the surface of a calm, clear lake. You can still feel it, but now it's far above you, safe, watching over you as you drift down into the quiet. The rosemary sprig in your hand has vanished from thought, not lost, but absorbed into you. It's sent a part of your breath now. Each inhale carries its grounding calm. Each exhale lets go of whatever you no longer need. You are weightless. You are safe. The garden is endless. And now, without even realizing it, you have crossed fully into sleep. The sleep is deep and still as the night garden's heart. Stars will keep watch. The walls will stand. The fountain will sing. And you, wrapped in the peace of this place, will rest until you are ready to wake again. The garden is barely a picture now. It's more of a feeling, a warmth that exists in the quiet space behind your thoughts. Doesn't need to be seen or described anymore. You know it is there, unchanged, holding the same stillness that first welcomed you. Your breath is the only sound you notice now. Slow, even, like the rhythm of the tide on a shore that no one has ever walked. Each inhale feels like a soft hand resting against your chest. Each exhale feels like that hand gently releasing, letting you sink further into rest. The weight in your body is absolute, a pleasant heaviness that anchors you without effort. It's the kind of weight that comes from being completely safe, completely finished with the day. In your mind, the fountain's song has become a distant echo, not gone, but far away, like a memory you can call back at will. If you listen for it, you can hear it still, drops falling into water, ripples folding into one another endlessly. But you don't have to listen. You don't have to hold on to anything. The garden will keep its shape on its own. You are free to let go completely. There's no more need for thought. No more pictures to keep in focus. Only sensations remain. The trace of rosemary in your breath, the cool night air that once touched your skin, the slow warmth of the bench beneath you. Even these begin to fade into something softer, a quiet so complete that it is not empty, but full of rest, full of peace, full of everything you need without any effort to take it in. You are not trying to sleep now. You are not waiting for it to come. You're simply here. And in being here, you are already there, in the deep, dark water of rest, held and unmoving with the moon above and the earth below. Time doesn't exist here. The night is not passing. It is simply present, like a deep breath held in perfect comfort. You could stay in this single moment forever and it would feel exactly right. Somewhere in the far distance, the cat sleeps on. Its purr is gone now. Or perhaps it has simply merged with the silence, becoming part of the still air, part of the ground, part of you. The walls of the garden stand tall in the background of your mind. You don't see them, but you sense their protection, as though they are keeping the world at bay. Nothing can reach you here. Nothing can disturb you. Your breath slows further. Your body is almost no longer a thing you feel. It is simply being, existing, without demand, without movement, without weight. You are still here. The quiet has not shifted. The garden still holds you exactly where you left it, wrapped in its night air, surrounded by the slow breath of herbs and stone. It feels as if time has paused, not frozen, but resting, just as you are. The stars above are still in their same slow drift. The moon remains steady, casting silver light on the rosemary hedge, the lavender. And the surface of the fountain, its reflection ripples gently with every drop that falls. A silent rhythm you have come to know, as well as your own heartbeat. The cat has returned. You don't remember hearing it approach, but now it is curled once more at your side, its warmth leaning into you, its small purr blending with the fountain's steady voice. Feels like it was never gone at all. Somewhere, the brazier shifts. Not loudly, but enough for you to hear the soft sigh of ash as it settles deeper into its bed. There's still a faint glow inside, just enough to send up a thin thread of smoke, carrying with it the scent of wood and a hint of orange peel. The air brushes against your face, cool and soft, like a gentle hand smoothing away the weight of the day. Every time you breathe in, the rosemary answers, sharp green, grounding. Every time you breathe out, the mint drifts in, cool, clean, clearing your mind. Your body is heavy in the most comfortable way. It's not the heaviness of fatigue, but of being so completely at ease that every muscle has given itself permission to rest. Your shoulders are lower than you knew they could be, your arms loose at your sides. Your legs warm and still. Walls around the garden stand tall and silent. You can sense their history without seeing it. Centuries of nights held in their memory, centuries of mornings watched from their height. They have guarded this space through storms, through winters, through countless seasons of bloom. Tonight, they guard you too. A faint sound catches your ear, not a break in the peace, but a small addition to it. Somewhere beyond the rosemary, the gardener moves with quiet steps, checking each plant the way a friend might check on a sleeping child. His lantern glows softly, sending arcs of gold across the leaves as it sways. The light never startles, it simply brushes each place in turn, then moves on. You hear the gentle clip of shears again, followed by the whisper of leaves falling onto the earth. The sound repeats now and then, never hurried, never loud, a kind of slow punctuation to the silence. The fountain keeps singing. Its song is layered. The higher note of water leaving the spout, the lower, fuller tone of the pool receiving it, and the faint hiss of ripples folding into one another. If you listen closely, you can almost feel the coolness of it against your skin, as though the air itself has been shaped by the water's touch. Your breathing falls into that same rhythm. In with the water's rise, out with its fall. It's not something you try to do, it just happens, as naturally as the plants leaning toward the moon. A soft breeze drifts through the jasmine archway, carrying with it a trace of sweetness. It weaves into the rosemary's sharper scent and the mint's clean edge, creating a harmony of fragrances that feels like a song without sound. You breathe it in, and your mind grows even quieter as though each inhale unties another knot inside you. The cat shifts beside you, stretching one paw toward the rosemary, then curling in again. Its movement is slow, as if it too has learned the garden's unhurried pace. Somewhere above, an owl calls, low and steady, its voice carrying through the still air like a note from an old, familiar instrument. It's answered faintly by another call farther away, and then the silence folds over them again. The night here doesn't demand your attention. It doesn't pull you in any direction. It simply allows you to exist inside it, unchanged, unhurried, completely at ease. You could stay on this bench for hours without moving, without feeling the need to. The ground beneath you is solid. The air around you is gentle. The garden's walls hold everything in balance. The gardener's lantern passes once more, its glow warming the stone path for a moment before moving on. He doesn't speak, and you don't need him to. His presence is just another part of the garden's steady rhythm, a reassurance that all is well. The moonlight shifts slightly as the night deepens, casting new shadows across the fountain. The ripples catch the light in new patterns, and for a moment, it looks as though stars have fallen into the water. You close your eyes, but the garden stays with you in perfect detail. The scents, the sounds, the feeling of the bench beneath you, the warmth of the cat's small body against your leg. It's all there, holding you as you drift deeper into stillness. There is no end here, no point at which the night gives way unless you are ready. The garden will keep breathing for you, holding your place, letting you rest for as long as you wish. And as you breathe in once more, the rosemary greets you again, scent grounding you in this exact moment. Safe, calm, and endlessly quiet. The night feels even deeper now. It's as if the world outside the garden has completely disappeared. Not just quieted, but vanished into a soft, infinite distance. Here, the air is thick with stillness. It moves only in the gentlest of ways. A slow turn around the rosemary hedge. A barely felt shift through the lavender, as if the garden is sighing in its sleep. You sit without moving, and the bench beneath you feels like part of the earth itself. Steady, grounding, a place that holds you without asking anything in return. The cat's breathing has become so slow that you feel it more than you hear it. A faint warmth against your side. A steady rhythm that your own body begins to match. Somewhere near the wall, a droplet falls from a leaf into the fountain's pool. It lands with a soft plink and sends a circle outward, a ripple that touches the edges, then folds back toward the center. It's such a small sound, but it reaches you in the same way a heartbeat does, quiet, certain, alive. Above, the moonlight pours into the garden like a slow silver tide. It doesn't rush, doesn't fade. It simply rests on everything it touches. Stone, water, leaf, and in resting, it makes them glow. The gardener has gone now. His lantern's glow has faded from sight, and the last faint scent of beeswax from its candle has dissolved into the rosemary and mint. The garden belongs entirely to you again. There is no movement except the smallest, a leaf shifting, a shadow tilting, a petal loosening from the jasmine arch, and floating silently to the flagstone below. Your breath is slow. Your thoughts are slower still. They arrive as fragments, a color, a scent, faint curve of the fountain's edge, and then drift away again, carried off like seeds on the breeze. You are not trying to hold on to anything now. The garden asks for nothing from you. It is content simply to keep you here, wrapped in its quiet. Somewhere far above the walls, an owl glides across the sky. Its shadow brushes the tops of the citrus trees, but you only sense it a brief shift in the air, a trace of movement that is gone before it fully arrives. The rosemary scent rises again, stronger now, as if the night air has leaned closer to you. It mingles with the coolness of mint, the faint sweetness of jasmine, and the clean mineral scent of stone after dark. It's a fragrance that feels like it belongs only to this garden, something you couldn't find anywhere else in the world. You notice the way your body has sunk further into rest. Your shoulders are loose, your arms heavy, your legs warm and still. It feels as though you could stay here forever without a single shift or stir. The fountain's song has become part of you now. It no longer feels like something you are hearing from outside. It feels like something that moves through you, like the rhythm of your own breath. In, a drop falls. Out, the ripple widens. It's so natural that you barely know which is your breathing and which is the fountain's. The moonlight finds its way to the bench now, brushing over the wood, painting it in pale silver. It touches your hands, your arms, and you feel its cool glow settle into your skin like water soaking into dry earth. Your mind drifts into a place without edges. It's not quite dream, not quite waking, a space in between where the garden feels both real and infinite. In this space, you can walk the paths if you wish. Past the lavender, past the citrus trees, past the rosemary hedge to the farthest wall. You can trail your fingers along the rough stone, feeling the coolness of it. The slight dip where centuries of air and rain have worn it smooth, or you can remain exactly where you are, letting the garden move around you, shadows shifting, air stirring, moonlight flowing in slow, endless waves. The cat stretches, its paw brushing your leg, then curls in closer again. Its warmth anchors you as if to say, "Stay here, stay still. This moment is enough." And it is. It's more than enough. Your breath slows one more step. Your body sinks one more degree into the bench. The night folds over you like a blanket, not heavy, not tight, but perfectly fitted to your shape. There is no more before, no more after. Only this. You, the garden, the quiet, the moon. It will hold you for as long as you need. And in this stillness, you need nothing else. The night has reached its deepest point. The garden feels almost like it is holding its breath, suspended in a moment that might never end. The air is richer now, not heavy, but full, like it has gathered every scent, every sound, every thread of stillness, and woven them together into a single, seamless fabric. You are part of that fabric, not separate, not a visitor, but woven in. As natural here as the rosemary, as the water, as the stone. Cat has shifted again, but so quietly you almost didn't notice. It's curled tighter now, its tail tucked in, its ears barely flicking in response to the softest noises. A leaf falling. The faint trickle of the fountain, the whisper of air through the jasmine archway. The moonlight is softer here in the garden's deepest hours. It's no longer bright silver, it's gentler, like brushed satin, spilling over the stone paths and herb beds in a way that makes everything look even more still. Your eyes are half closed now. You can still see the faint glow of the fountain's ripples, the pale shapes of leaves swaying ever so slightly in the night air. But sight has become less important. It's enough to feel the garden. In the cool air that drifts across your skin, in the warmth of the cat beside you, in the faint vibration of the water's fall, Your breath moves slowly, matching that vibration. There is no rush to inhale, no effort to exhale. Just an easy rhythm, as though the garden is breathing for you. Above, the stars seem closer now, not brighter, not louder, just nearer, as if they've leaned down over the walls. To watch the night garden in its rest, you can almost sense their quiet attention, like 1,000 tiny eyes keeping gentle watch. You imagine how the garden must look from above, a square of silver and shadow tucked into the heart of the castle, lit here and there by the last low embers of the brazier, by the pale surface of the fountain, by the faint glistening edges of rosemary leaves. The scents have grown softer, but deeper. The rosemary is darker now, less sharp, more grounding. The mint has cooled further, and the jasmine has folded some of its sweetness inward for the night, leaving only the most delicate trace. The wall to your left holds its temperature, cool from the hours of night, but with a faint warmth still lingering in places from the day before. If you rested your hand against it, you'd feel the solid reassurance of something that has stood through centuries, unchanging, dependable. Calm. The cat gives a small sigh, the kind of sound that carries contentment without a single word. You feel it vibrate through the bench, and it settles into you like a slow, warm wave. Somewhere beyond the walls, the faintest wind moves through the forest. It's too far to touch the garden directly, but you sense its passing. A ripple that the walls catch and soften before it reaches you. The fountain's rhythm hasn't changed. If anything, it feels even slower now, though you know it hasn't. It's your own breath, your own heartbeat, matching it so completely that it seems like time itself has loosened its hold. You could stay in this space forever, in a way. You will, because the memory of it will always be here for you to step back into. Even in waking, you'll be able to close your eyes, breathe in slowly, and find yourself once more on this bench, with the cat beside you, the moon above, the rosemary leaning into the cool air. You notice the smallest shift in the light now. Not dawn, not yet, but the moon easing toward the far side of the sky. Its light brushes the tops of the walls differently, stretching the shadows across the fountain in new, softer angles. A single petal from the jasmine above loosens and falls. You watch it drift through the air, turning slowly as it goes, before coming to rest on the surface of the water. It floats there, carried by the fountain's gentle movement, circling lazily before finding the basin's edge. Your eyes grow heavier. The garden's details blur at the edges, not because they're gone, but because you no longer need to hold them so tightly. They're here, all around you, and they'll stay whether you look at them or not. You take another slow breath in, and the rosemary greets you once more, warm and steady. You breathe out, and the sound of the fountain carries the air away for you. The night holds you, the walls guard you. The garden keeps you, and you drift. The stillness has taken on a weight of its own now, not heavy, but complete. Every sound in the garden feels softer, as though even the smallest movement knows that this is the hour for deep rest. The fountain's voice is quieter, not because the water has slowed, but because you have settled so deeply that its sound has become part of you. It's no longer something you hear, it's something you are. The air moves in the faintest of shifts. You can feel it brushing the skin on your face, cool and fine as silk. It carries with it the mingled scents of the herbs. Rosemary, mint, lavender, woven so tightly together that you no longer notice them as separate notes. They are simply the scent of the garden, a fragrance that feels like safety itself. The moonlight rests over everything like a hand in blessing. It's soft, diffused, as though it has passed through some invisible veil before touching the stone. The plants, the water. The shadows it casts are gentle, their edges blurred, folding into the silver glow without resistance. The cat remains curled beside you, its warmth a steady presence against your leg. You can feel the slow rise and fall of its breath, the tiny shifts as it adjusts in its sleep. It doesn't wake. There is no need. It knows the garden is safe, just as you do. Your own breathing has fallen into a rhythm that feels older than thought, as though it belongs to the earth itself. In and out. No strain, no pause, no effort. You imagine that somewhere the gardener has finished his work for the night and is resting too. perhaps with a warm drink in hand. Perhaps sitting in the shadows by a smaller brazier, watching the embers turn to ash. The image is as calm as the garden itself. The walls around you stand without a sound. They have been here for centuries, through storms, through seasons, through countless nights like this one. Their presence is steady, and their stillness feels like a shield between you and the world beyond. A single leaf detaches from one of the citrus trees, its stem finally letting go. It drifts down slowly, its fall slowed by the night air. Turning in the moonlight before it lands soundlessly on the flagstone path, the motion is so unhurried that it feels like part of the garden's breathing. Inhale, exhale, release. Above, the stars are bright and unwavering. The deep blue of the sky seems almost like water you could swim in if you looked long enough. And perhaps in some quiet way you were already floating there, half in the garden, half in the vastness above. The scents around you shift subtly as the air moves. A little more lavender now, then rosemary again, then a thread of mint cooling the back of your throat. Each breath feels as though it carries you further inward, deeper into a rest that has no bottom. The brazier near the far wall has cooled entirely. Its ashes sit pale and fine in the moonlight, undisturbed, like snow that will never melt. There is no need for its warmth now. The air is balanced perfectly, cool enough to refresh you, warm enough to keep you comfortable. Somewhere near the jasmine archway, a moth flutters. You hear the faintest whisper of its wings, catching the light for only a moment before disappearing back into the shadows. Even its movements seem to obey the garden's slow pace. Your body feels heavier with each passing minute, not in a way that drags you down, but in the way a stone rests on the bed of a still pond, secure, unmoved, at peace. The cat shifts again, pressing more firmly against your leg before settling completely. Its quiet purr starts once more, a low vibration that you feel in your bones. It joins with the fountain's endless murmur, the two sounds blending until you can't tell them apart. Your eyes grow heavier still. When they close, the garden remains just as vivid. The scents, the sounds, the cool air, and the warmth beside you. It's all there, holding you as securely as the stone walls hold the night. The moon has begun to tilt toward the far horizon, but you barely notice. Here, time doesn't matter. Here the garden could last forever, and you would be content to stay in its quiet heart. In. Rosemary. Out. Water on stone. In. Moonlight. Out. Stillness. And so you sink even deeper, until you are no longer sure where you end and the garden begins. The night is steady, unchanging, like a vast, calm sea. Every part of the garden feels settled, rooted in a stillness so complete that it might go on without end. The fountain's voice is the same as it has been since you arrived. Steady, soothing, layered with soft ripples that spread and fold into one another. It is not a song that rises or falls. It is a song that simply is constant, patient, eternal. The air rests lightly on your skin, doesn't press, doesn't pull, just moves in slow invisible swirls. With each breath in, the rosemary greets you again, its green, grounding scent wrapping around your senses. With each breath out, you feel the mint's coolness drift through your chest, making space, freeing you of anything heavy. The moonlight has shifted slightly. It now leans at an angle across the garden wall, casting longer shadows from the rosemary hedge, from the citrus trees, from the bench where you sit. Those shadows seem softer than before, their edges blurred as though the night itself is relaxing deeper into rest. The cat hasn't moved much. It lies warm against you, its small breaths slow and even, its body curled in perfect trust. Now and then, its tail gives a faint, lazy flick, but its eyes remain closed, its rest unbroken. Beyond the walls, there is almost nothing. No footsteps on stone, no rustle of leaves, only the faint hum of night. It's a hum so deep and low that you can't be sure it's not coming from within yourself. A single drop of water from the fountain splashes just a little higher than the rest. It lands with a delicate plink on the stone edge, sending a tiny mist into the air. The sound is crisp in the stillness, and then it fades, folding back into the larger hush. The scent of lavender drifts closer now. Perhaps the air has turned slightly, or perhaps your awareness has simply shifted. It blends with the rosemary in a way that feels both calming and rich, a scent that belongs entirely to the deep hours of the night. Your body is loose. Every muscle has let go. Your neck rests in perfect comfort, your shoulders low and heavy, your hands still and open. There is nothing to hold here, nothing to brace against. Only the safety of being supported completely. You sense the age of the walls. You've seen nights like this for centuries, standing watch while the garden breathes. They hold the memory of countless moons, countless fountains, countless hours of silence just like this one. And tonight, they hold you too. The moonlight brushes over the surface of the fountain now, making the water glow in silver streaks. When the ripples move, the light breaks into small, shifting shapes, like tiny fragments of stars caught in the pool. Somewhere far beyond the walls, you think you hear a distant owl. Its call is faint, muted by distance and the thickness of the night. It calls only once, then fades back into the dark, leaving nothing but the soft chorus of the garden. The air is cooler now, but it's the kind of cool that refreshes without chilling, a clean, open feeling that makes every breath taste pure. The cat sighs in its sleep, a small sound that somehow fills the entire space. Its warmth is a steady reminder that you are not alone here, that you share this stillness with another quiet soul. You close your eyes, the garden does not fade. It becomes even clearer. You can see it in your mind with the same detail as with your eyes. The glow of the moon, the curve of the bench, the shapes of the rosemary and lavender in the shadows. The fountain's rhythm becomes your own. It's no longer outside you, it's inside, a part of your breath, a part of your heartbeat. The garden holds you exactly where you are. It does not ask you to move forward, it does not pull you toward morning. It simply allows you to stay, and you do, because there's nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. The night is enough. The garden is a living breath held between worlds, neither moving toward dawn nor slipping back into evening. It is suspended here, deep in the quiet heart of night. The air is a soft weight against your skin, cool but not cold, carrying the layered fragrance of rosemary, mint, and the faintest thread of lavender. It's the scent of stillness itself, gentle, grounding, a promise that nothing will disturb you here. The fountain's rhythm continues without change. Each drop falls with perfect patience, its sound reaching you like a quiet heartbeat. You've been listening for so long that you can't tell if you are matching it, or if it has begun to match you. The moonlight has settled lower in the sky now. It brushes the tops of the rosemary hedge in a silver glaze, spilling over the stone rim of the fountain, pooling faintly on the flagstones between the herbs. Its glow feels softer now, less a spotlight, more an embrace. The cat is completely still. Its breathing is so even that you can feel the small rise and fall against your leg without having to notice it. That warmth, steady and quiet, anchors you here more deeply than anything else. A single breeze moves through the jasmine archway. It is slow and deliberate, as if the air itself is reluctant to hurry. The movement stirs the petals just enough to send a fresh wave of fragrance into the night, soft, sweet, and gone again before it can linger too long. You find yourself drifting into that in-between place, half in the garden, half in something even quieter. Thoughts no longer arrive in full sentences, only in small impressions. The curve of a shadow, sound of a leaf brushing stone, the cool trace of air across your cheek. The world beyond the walls feels impossibly far away. There are no echoes of footsteps, no creak of wood, no distant voices. Only this sealed moment, as if the night has built a room made of air and moonlight just for you. Somewhere near the far wall, a drop of water slips from a leaf and lands on the flagstone. The sound is so small that it might have been imagined, but you know it was real, because the garden doesn't need to raise its voice to be heard. The rosemary scent rises stronger now, carried by the subtle change in the air. Breathe it in, and the warmth in your chest deepens. Muscles soft, shoulders heavy, hands resting without tension. You think about how many nights this garden must have seen in its lifetime. Nights of silence, nights of music, nights when only the gardener and the plants shared the air. And now this night belongs to you. The fountain's water catches the moonlight in a thin arc, sending a narrow ribbon of silver into the pool below. When the ripples touch the petal that still floats there, it turns gently, never hurried, never resisting. The shadows are long now, reaching toward you across the stones. They are not sharp, but blurred at the edges, like brushstrokes in soft ink. They carry no darkness that feels heavy, only a reminder of the depth of night. The cat stirs just enough to stretch its back legs, then curls in tighter. Its tail wrapping around itself, the faintest purr starts up again. Not loud enough to be a sound, but a hum you can feel through the bench, through the ground, into your bones. The garden is perfectly balanced. No sound is too loud, no air to still. It is a place that has nothing to prove, because it simply is whole and complete without needing to change. Your eyes grow heavier, they close. The scents and sounds wrap around you more completely. The fountain becomes a slow tide in your mind. The rosemary becomes the earth beneath you. The cat's warmth becomes the steady center of everything. You don't have to think about sleep here. It's already begun. The moment you stop trying to hold it, it holds you instead, gently, completely, without end. The moonlight shifts again. But you don't open your eyes to see it. You can feel its path in the cool air moving across your skin, in the way the shadows slide slowly across the inside of your mind. The night isn't going anywhere. It will stay until you are ready to let go. And even then, it will remain in the garden, waiting for you to return. Here, you are exactly where you need to be. Nothing is missing. Nothing is out of place. Nothing is asked of you but rest. And as you walk a little further into the garden, you notice the sound of water again. Not the distant, gentle fountain near the wall, but a closer, softer trickle, like a hidden stream winding through the roots of the herbs. It seems to emerge from beneath a small, arched stone bridge, half covered in moss and tiny white blossoms. You step closer, feeling the smooth, cool stones beneath your slippers, the air shifting slightly cooler as the sound of the running water deepens. The stream glimmers under the candlelight, tiny ripples catching silver and gold reflections from the flames. The gardener pauses beside you, smiling softly, as if this place holds a secret you are just about to learn. He kneels by the water, dipping his hand in slowly, letting the ripples fan outward.
This stream,
he whispers, is fed from the old well beneath the keep. Water that has been here for hundreds of years. Water that remembers every hand that has ever touched it. You imagine that a memory held in every drop, stretching back through the centuries, through the hands of queens, knights, travelers, and children who once wandered here in the stillness of night. You crouch beside him, feeling the cool, damp air rise from the surface, and then you notice tiny silver fish drifting lazily between the shadows, turning slowly, as if the night itself moves them along. The gardener takes a small clay cup from his belt and fills it carefully with the water. He hands it to you, and you bring it close to your lips. The scent is pure, like rain falling on stone, like morning mist in the forest. You take a sip, and feel it spread through you slowly, calm and grounding, as though it carries the weight of all the peaceful nights that ever passed in this garden. The gardener simply nods, and you understand, this is not just water. It's the heart of the place. You stand again, and the stream's murmur follows you as you wander toward the next corner of the night garden. Beyond the little stone bridge, the path curves into a shaded alcove. The candlelight fades here, and instead, small lanterns hang from the branches above, their glow soft and golden, swaying gently in the night air. You pause beneath them, noticing how their light falls in patterns on the mossy ground, like shifting lace made of shadow and flame. In the center of the alcove stands a tall wooden table, its surface worn smooth by time. On it, an arrangement of glass jars, each holding petals, leaves, and herbs suspended in clear liquid. Some glow faintly, as if the plants still breathe inside. A faint fragrance rises, lavender, mint, and something unfamiliar. Something warm, like spiced honey. From behind the table, an elderly woman steps forward, her robe deep blue, her hair silver as the moon. She does not speak at first, but studies you with a kind, knowing gaze. Then, in a voice as gentle as the lantern light, she says, "These are memories kept safe in the gardens for those who wish to remember." She picks up one jar, the liquid shimmering as she tilts it. "This one," she continues, "holds the scent of a summer morning 300 years ago." You lean closer. And yes, as the jar opens, you smell sunlight, fresh bread, and the laughter of people you've never met. It makes your chest feel light, as if some long-forgotten happiness has found its way back to you. The woman smiles faintly, replacing the jar among the others. "You may take only one," she says, "but choose with care. Memories change the one who carries them." You glance over the jars, each holding its quiet magic, and feel the weight of the choice before you. Your hand hovers over the jars, each one glowing faintly in its own hue. A pale green jar hums softly, as though it contains the whisper of wind through spring leaves. A deep crimson jar seems warmer than the others, and the scent of spiced wine drifts faintly from it. One tucked near the edge of the table is unlike the rest. Its liquid is nearly clear, yet tiny sparks of gold flicker inside. Like fireflies caught in moonlight, you reach for it slowly. The moment your fingers touch the glass, a memory that is not yours rises like mist in your mind. A meadow, vast and open, where the air tastes of rain and sweet grass. In the distance, bells ring from a village unseen. You open your eyes to find the woman watching you, her lips curved in the smallest smile. "That one," she says softly, "belongs to a traveler who never found their way home." Glance down at the jar again, wondering if you have the right to hold it. Her gaze deepens. Sometimes, she murmurs, we are chosen by the memory, not the other way around. The thought lingers in your chest as you carefully wrap the jar in a small piece of cloth she offers you. The humming grows clearer as you move, not louder, not nearer, just clearer, as if the corridor itself wants you to understand. The jar in your hands warms a little more. The warmth isn't heat exactly, it's a memory waking. Feels the way sunlight feels when you first step out of shadow. Soft, inevitable, patient. You breathe in honey and iron, old wood. A trace of rosemary, carried here by a draft you cannot feel. The beads at your back whisper against each other as they settle. The sound fades at once, swallowed by the hush of the passage. You notice the way silence lives here. Layered, careful, curated like a library of quiet. The shelves to your left hold a dozen tiny bells. None of them ring, just stopped with a strip of wax. I promise that their voices will return only when asked. To your right, a length of braided straw, looped into a circle. You touch it with one finger, and the faintest image unfurls, hands weaving. A low song, a dog sleeping in a corner by brick-red coals. The humming ahead takes a new turn, falling to a note so low it is almost a vibration in your bones. It settles you. Your shoulders drop another fraction. Your jaw unclenches without asking permission. Pass another shelf. A willow flute rests on velvet, the wood polished by breath alone. Next to it, an hourglass that holds not sand, but pale petals. They shift like a slow snowfall when the corridor breathes. The floor changes under your feet. Stone giving way to boards. They don't creak, they exhale. You feel a faint give, like walking across a sleeping animal that trusts you. You come to a low arch. It's carved with vines and a small crown of oranges, each fruit marked with a thumbprint of gold leaf. When you bow your head to pass beneath, your lips brush the cool stone. It tastes of citrus and candle soot and time. Beyond the arch is a narrow room lit by 3 lamps. Your chimneys are clouded with breath, the glass scribbled by years of wiping with linen. The light is patient, it doesn't press. It waits for your eyes to soften. At the center stands a table of walnut, scarred and satin smooth, edges worn to a gentleness only hands can make. On it, a circle of shallow bowls. In each bowl, a thin layer of oil, and in each oil, a single curled petal or seed or twig, trembling as if to a music too slow to hear. A figure sits beyond the table, half in shadow, half in the lamp's soft reach. Their hair is the color of new snow. Their hands are stained with the brown of leaves and the green of crushed stems. They do not stop humming when you enter. They only lift their gaze, and it meets yours like water in a basin, unjudging, steady, still. You lower the jar, but do not set it down. It has become the exact shape of your palms, as if it learned you in the walk. Traveler, the figure says. Not a question, a naming. Their voice is a low hearth, a winter blanket, a bell wrapped in felt. Your breath follows it without thinking. You nod. Anything more would be too loud. They gesture to the bowls. These are the kept songs, they murmur. Not notes, not words. The quiet that remains after a song has done its work. You listen and you hear it. Not melody, but the memory of relief. The way a chest loosens when tears finally come, the way a spine lengthens when a fear is named and set down. The figure dips a finger into one bowl, lifts a single glimmer of oil, touches the air. Scent rises, not flour, not resin. But the first breath taken after someone says, "You are safe," your eyes sting, but from softness, not pain. You stand straighter and feel lighter all at once. The humming returns, threading through the room like a silk ribbon. The figure nods toward your jar. Yours is restless, they say, gently. It is old and faithful. It does not wish to be hidden any longer. You look down. The sparks inside move now. Firefly gold rinsing to ember, glowing in slow pulses that find your pulse and match it. May I? The figure's hand is steady, a quiet invitation. You step forward. The table welcomes the jar as if it has been expecting it for years. When you place it within the ring of bowls, the oil in each shivers, then settles, as though greeting a friend at the end of a long season. The figure leans close to your jar without touching it. They listen as if it speaks. Perhaps it does. The room grows even more still. A pause so deep, it feels like the garden lifting its face to first snow. Then the softest smile. Ah, they whisper, almost to themselves. Home isn't a place for this one. It is a promise made and kept. They touch the glass with one fingertip. The warmth in your palms vanishes, not lost. Returned. The jar glows steady, no longer urgent. A candle that remembers the hand that once shielded it from wind. The figure looks up. In this castle, they say, we keep what would be broken by daylight, not to hide it, to let it ripen. Something releases between your shoulder blades. Not a sigh exactly, but the kind of letting go that sounds like cloth falling over the back of a chair. They choose one bowl at random, or perhaps not random at all. Their finger rises, glistening again, and they draw a line in the air from your forehead to your chest. A path you can feel but cannot see, cool as moonlight, warm as a name spoken by someone who knows you. Now, they murmur, walk the song back to the garden. You will know where to place it. You lift the jar. It is lighter, your hands are stronger, or both. The lamps lean a little brighter as you turn, like old friends at a doorway. The corridor feels different in return. The bells are not so silent. You hear their echo without a ring. Weddings, wakes, winter warnings, autumn feasts. The willow flute hums in its sleep, a bird dreaming of the branch it will be again in spring. Your steps fold into the wood. The arch crowns you with oranges as you pass. Your lips brush stone again. This time you taste rosemary, and a memory of laughter you know is not yours. And yet you wear it like a shawl. You part the beaded curtain with your shoulder. The beads whisper secrets to each other and fall still. Beyond the garden exhales. That dear breath of night air is cool and fragrant, wider than any room, clean as if someone had just opened the sky. The stars remain. The moon keeps its slow arc. The fountain lifts a silver thread and lays it down again without haste. The rosemary is dark velvet in the shadows. The mint a smoke of green where the lanterns reach it. Somewhere the cat makes one small sound of recognition from a patch of warm stone and does not bother to rise. It knows you. It knows your footsteps now. You move toward the old stone bridge. The stream murmurs, the same three notes repeating, here, here, here. The water knows paths under the castle you will never see. It keeps them anyway. It remembers the ones who kept you before you came to this night. Where do you place a promise? Where do you set down a song? You walk until the question quiets. You find the bench where you first rested, where the rosemary leaned into your breath, where the garden first taught your shoulders to drop. You know at once. There is a small hollow in the wall at knee height, a niche worn by hands that never meant to carve anything at all. The stone inside is smoother than the rest, darker from the touch of years. You kneel. The flagstones are cooled through your clothes. You place the jar in the hollow. It sits there as if it has always belonged. The sparks within slow, then settle into a glow that is neither bright nor dim, merely right. You rest your palm on the stone beside it. It is cold, but what moves up your arm is warmth. The strange arithmetic of the place. You lay down something and are given back more. The garden changes by a breath. Not your breath. Its breath. A shift in the wrists of shadow and light. Lanterns lean closer without moving. The fountain's arc lifts a finger's width higher. The rosemary loosens a little perfume and lays it at your feet. Someone you do not turn to see who sets a folded length of linen on the bench, a pillow for the neck, a blanket for the knees. The smallest kindnesses are the heaviest anchors. You sit. The jar's glow touches your ankle through the stone. The warmth is slow as bread. It rises, it fills. It becomes you without asking your permission. Across the herb beds, the lamps hold their gentle crowns of fire. Their chimneys are a little clearer now, as if the air has washed itself. The sky remembers more stars than before, or perhaps you are looking more softly and can see what you missed. The cat arrives without sound, arranges itself with the solemnity of a priest. The garden holds you like a word held on the tongue, savored, unhurried, complete. The little jar glows in its stone cradle, steady as a hearth coal, warming the air around your ankles with a comfort you feel more than you feel the night's cool. You lean back until the wall receives your weight. It knows how to hold you. It has held generations. Its patience becomes yours. The fountain loosens its cadence a breath more, not slower, but wider, as though each drop has learned how to rest before it falls. You breathe with it, discovering that your ribs make more room than you knew they could. Discovering, too, that you do not need much space to soften, only consent. Somewhere among the citrus, a moth combs the air. Its wings do not interrupt the quiet, they embroider it, with a silver stitch you cannot see, only sense. When it settles, the lantern nearest to it steadies, as if reassured. The cat stands, stretches, arranges itself with ceremonial care, then resettles with its chin on your shin. The purr returns, low, velvety, like a wheel turning in deep moss. It threads through the stone, through the bench, through your bones, so that you cannot tell whether you are hearing it or being it. Far above, a slip of cloud crosses the moon like a palm passing over a candle. The light dims for a single heartbeat, then relooms so soft, so even as if the sky itself exhaled and chose to continue. From the archway, a figure glides, not announced, not hidden. The queen moves as though the floor remembers her steps, and presents each flagstone in the order she prefers. In her hands, a folded shawl the color of early figs. She does not speak. She places it over your shoulders with the practiced kindness of someone who has learned that warmth given quietly says everything. Rest as long as you wish, she says at last, and her voice is a blanket's edge. Then she is gone, leaving a length of air faintly touched with beeswax and rosemary, like a seal gently pressed into wax and then lifted. You notice the shawl is not merely soft, it is storied. The weave holds the ghost of far-off hearths, a window unlatched to summer rain, the lingering breath of old songs. When you pull it closer, the fabric gathers your shoulders into an uncomplicated yes. The gardener appears next. As inevitable and unstartling as dew, he carries a small brazier bowl, no blaze, only a handful of coals banked to a quiet orange. He sets it at a polite distance, enough for its warmth to reach, not enough to insist. Then, with 2 gentle taps, he opens a pinch of dried orange peel into the heart of embers. It lifts a thread of scent bright at first, then mellow as it meets the cooler air. He inclines his head toward the niche. The jar glows. He smiles without teeth, as if answering a child who has finally fallen asleep. Promises, he murmurs, prefer circles. His hand draws one in the air. The moon, the arch, the rim of the fountain, the loop of pathways. Let the night finish its round. He is gone as softly as he came, his steps absorbed by time. You discover your hands have learned a new ease. Fingers uncurling, palms warm, wrists unguarded. You rest them in your lap and notice a pulse in each one, a twin metronome syncing to the fountain's drop. The body, left to itself, finds music. You let your thoughts become spacious. When one arrives, it arrives without edges. When it leaves without trace. And in the interval, a meadow of unbroken quiet, not empty, but filled with the soft presence of everything that doesn't need a name. Breath by breath, the garden teaches a simple measure. Count the oranges you can see. 1, 2, 3. And let each number ride on an exhale. When you reach 10, you have not reached anything at all. You have simply circled back to 1. You do it once. You do it twice. By the 3rd quiet round, numbers have dissolved into the bright, uncounted sweetness of fruit under moon. Dew begins its fine work first on the rosemary's needled tips. Pearls too small for eyes that hurry, then along the rim of the bench, cooling the wood to a clean, agreeable chill. When you inhale, the green note deepens. There is the faintest whisper of stone turned damp, the castle breathing with the plants it shelters. From the stream, a voice you had not noticed joins, a lower murmur under the fountain's thread. You angle your head. The old bridge listens to. Water folds around its footings with the mercy only water has, making every hard thing round. You realize you have not moved for some time, and yet nothing in you is still. Blood travels, breath varies, awareness drifts and returns. A little boat visiting each shore of you and finding all of them friendly. The cat dreams. A whisker twitches, paw opens, closes, as if testing the weight of an invisible moth. Its purr does not falter. You scroll your hand once between its ears. Fur is night-warm, night-scented, clean animal, gentle. It accepts the touch the way the garden accepts dew. Fully, without commentary. The bell sounds far away. Not from the keep, but deeper, lower, woodland, deep. The kind of bell that is less metal than memory. It tolls once, then allows the silence to complete the circle. You feel the tone land in your chest, and sit there, like a stone in a clear pool. Anchoring, uninsistent, true. The shawl slips. You lift it. The cloth answers your fingers with a small whisper, the way a page answers when you turn it. You fold it closer. Your neck lengthens by the width of a kindness. Your face loosens until it is a field after harvest. Nothing to hold, nothing to hide, everything quietly offered to the sky. In the niche, the jar's fireflies slow again. Each pulse is longer than the last. You can almost count the distance between glows, the way sailors count the time between a lighthouse flash and its return. But you do not count. You let the returns find you. A forgotten breeze gathers itself from nowhere and ambles in from the arch. It brings 3 gifts: the faint spice of the brazier's peel, mince green cool, and an impossible whisper of sweet bread from some midnight kitchen, so thin a thread that you would miss it if your heart were any louder. You do not chase it. You receive it and let it go. Your eyes close. A choice that feels less like closing and more like arriving, where seeing is no longer required. Behind your eyelids, the garden remains. A relief map made of scent and temperature and the mathematics of sound. The fountain's arc becomes a long white feather laid upon a drumhead. The stream becomes a hand-smoothing linen. The lanterns become constellations that have descended to the level where they can be useful. You sink a little deeper, not down and away, down and in. The bench does not harden. It softens into something that remembers trees, and the trees remember wind. And the wind remembers the night a promise was spoken and kept. A second bell closer. Half its note is silence, and you hear both halves. Between them, a vow too simple for speech. This, keep this. Your breath answers with a vow of its own. I will. The garden approves. It shows approval the way elders do, by not interrupting. By letting you discover the next right sensation for yourself. You discover warmth collecting at your hands. A tide coming in so slowly that you only know it has arrived because your fingers, which were content, are now content warmed. You discover your jaw has become weightless. You discover that the tiny muscles near your ears have their own sigh, and they give it, and it feels like forgiveness. Somewhere a small sound, the gardener's shears? No. A sprig of jasmine letting go of its stem and landing on stone with the softness of a yes. The yes travels. The wall takes it. The shawl takes it. Your chest takes it. The cat takes it and deepens its purr by a shade. You have nothing left to do. The night does the doing. You practice the oldest skill, receiving. One more breath the size of a meadow. One more exhale the size of a path between rosemary rows. Your thoughts arrive like late birds and discover there is no need to land. They wheel once in a sky made of velvet and good sense, then disappear into a direction that has no edges. The jar glows steadily now, like a star that has finally found its place in the story. It will keep its watch while you keep your rest. The wall will keep its watch while the jar keeps its own. The garden will keep them both. You turn barely, until your cheek knows the shawl more fully. The fabric hums the way cloth hums when the person within it is done with the day. In that hum, something opens that had been careful. There is relief. There is ease. There is room. Sleep approaches the way the gardener approached. Inevitable, unstartling. The jar's soft glow steadies the corner of the wall, and the night gathers itself into one quiet thought. Stay, you do. The shawl remembers your shoulders, the bench remembers your weight, the garden remembers your breath. Everything here is practiced at keeping. The fountain unspools another silver thread, lays it down, waits, then unspools again, a loom that weaves calm into the dark. Your eyelids grow heavier, but there is a small brightness behind them, as if the night itself has learned the shape of your rest and wishes to be gentle with it. When you open your eyes slowly, you notice something you had not seen. Letters cut into the lowest courses of stone, half hidden by rosemary's shadow. They are small and patient, worn to the softness of river pebbles. Not words you can sound, but constellations of chisels. 4 marks here to there, a star prayer scattered along the wall. You slide your fingers to the mortar line, tracing the cool, shallow cups of the mason's quiet. Each groove holds a crumb of night air, a century of dew, a memory of hands that lifted and placed, until this garden had a boundary firm enough to let softness thrive. The cat's purr hums a fraction louder. Not insistence, approval. It knows the old marks, the old names. Cats remember the way places speak. You let your gaze drift higher. Between the citrus leaves, the sky shows its uncounted script. A band of stars has leaned closer, as if the wall's markings tugged the sky's own ink. Somewhere outside sight, a slow meteor writes and erases itself before your next blink. The jar in the niche answers with a long pulse. It does not brighten, it deepens. Amber through honey to a warm tea color, the kind you hold in both hands on a winter step. You close your eyes again and read by scent. Rosemary, green resin, small sun. Mint, river cool, on the back of the tongue. Lavender, a violet sigh where the temples loosen. Under them all, the mild bread smell of warm stone. Like a hearth you did not see but somehow tended. The air changes barely, a broom width of wind crossing the arch. It gathers the brazier's last orange and carries it to you, a ribbon of peel turned sweet by ash. You feel the fragrance as much as smell it, a gentle weight at the collarbones, then gone. In that shift, a memory walks up and sits beside you. It's not a picture, a posture. The posture of someone who has finished a long journey and at last lets the pack slide from their shoulders. You do the same, though you carry nothing. The body believes you. A linen-wrapped parcel rests on the bench's far end. It wasn't there, and now it is, which is the garden's way of saying, you are seen without being watched. You unfold the cloth. Inside, a small tin of salve stamped with a rosemary sprig, and a round of beeswax polished to a soft gleam. No directions, no label. Your hands know anyway. You warm a fingertip on the wax, circle it once through the salve, and touch it behind each ear where the day often hides its last 2 knots. Both knots consider this and decide to be done. Across the path, the stream keeps its 3-note vow. Here, here, here. The notes line up with your breath of their own accord. Here, out here, in here, out here. You do not count time. You count presence, which cannot be counted, and that is why it works. A cricket begins its practice. 1 slow syllable, wait, another, wait. It is not a song. It is permission. From somewhere beyond the wall comes the almost sound of distant hooves and wet grass. Not loud, not near, just the world continuing a long way off. Like rain thinking about starting. The garden hears it and chooses not to answer. Not everything needs a reply. You become aware of your feet, how the arches have softened. How the toes lie like commas in a good sentence. How the heels rest like stones that have found their river. You press nothing against the earth. The earth offers anyway. 1 lantern gutters. It steadies. Its flame tilts in a draft you do not feel and writes a tiny orange letter on the inside of its glass. For a heartbeat, the letter glows, and the glass cools and keeps the mark. Tomorrow, someone will wipe it away with linen, and the lantern will be new again, and the glass will remember in a way only glass can. By becoming clear, the queen's shawl holds your collarbones like a promise. You gather it tighter and feel the seam where 2 colors met in the weaving. Fig and smoke. Your thumb finds the join and rests there. because the place where things meet is often the most honest part. The cat lifts its head and looks at the niche. You follow its gaze. The jar's glow has become a breathing. Not yours, not the cat's, not the fountain's, the garden's. You realize it now. You have placed not a thing but a rhythm, and rhythm is how a place remembers. You test the body one small piece at a time, as a musician tests a string. Crown light, brow wide, eyes cool, jaw floating. Throat open like a door left ajar to summer, shoulders heavy and good. Arms warmed by nearness, hands quiet lamps, ribs like shutters unlatched to night. Belly soft field, hip stones set well, thighs blankets folded and waiting, knees hinges oiled, shins reaver lines, ankles unclasped, troots, but the traveling kind. Everything answers yes. You let the yes lengthen into an exhale. That seems to go on longer than your body could hold. It does, because the garden holds the rest. A thin fog begins to form just above the soil. Not a veil, a sheen. It curls around the rosemary's ankles, makes halos for lavender stems, polishes the flagstones to a soft moon. When it reaches you, your shins cool as if a kind hand has dipped a cloth in spring water and laid it there to remind the blood it may rest. The wall's small chisel stars gather themselves into a pattern. It's a path, a slow arc from the niche to the bench, leg to the break, in the herd bed, to the first stone of the bridge to the far lantern's base. You trace it with your eyes, then with your breath, then with whatever in you breathes when you are out of breath. Oh, when you complete the arc, something inside you aligns. A latch you didn't know was open, clicks closed with a sound only you can hear. The fountain gives one brighter note, the way a teacher gives one bright nod. Good, go on, you do nothing. That is the going on. Above the wall, a star trails a thread and disappears. You do not wish on it, you do not need. Wishing presumes a lack, and this night has none. A tiny tremor in the shawl, not from you, from the thread itself settling. As the weft says to the warp, "Thank you for holding me." The warp answers, "Thank you for giving me something to hold." You smile without moving your mouth. You understand. The cat folds one ear, unfolds it, then chooses sleep again. Feel its weight as a fact, the kind you could build a house on. The jar in the niche releases a single fleck of light that lifts, drifts, and dissolves. It is the smallest ceremony, complete as any coronation. You send a quiet thought toward the corridor you left, gratitude to the kept songs, to the hands stained green, to the bells with waxed tongues, to the hourglass petal snow, to the arch that tasted of citrus and soot. You do not linger on the thought. Gratitude, in this place, is a lake. You touch it, and your fingers come away clean. Now your breath is a tide again, but slower. In as if the sea were coming to listen at your door. Out, as if the sea were returning with your story, tucked safe in its long sleeve. The night answers with a deepening. Colors darken without dimming, sounds widen without growing loud. Touch turns precise without sharpening. It feels like a camera that has finally found its focus, and the picture is peace. You turn your head the width of a fig leaf, enough to rest your cheek along the wall. The stone is cool, the cool is kind, and behind the cool is the stored warmth of 1,000 suns, patient as a library. Your skin knows both truths at once and chooses comfort. The promise in the niche keeps its small watch. Your body keeps its larger sleep. The cat keeps its purr. The lantern keeps its flame. The fountain keeps its falling. Nothing here strains. Nothing here asks. Everything here keeps. And you, kept so completely, it let go the final inch. The last mindful thread loosening from the spool, until what remains is only the cloth itself. Soft, woven, whole, and already dreaming. The night has learned your shape. It settles around you the way a cloak settles on a trusted hanger, without argument, without weight. The shawl remembers your warmth. The wall remembers your leaning. The bench remembers your breathing. The garden remembers everything it keeps, and tonight it keeps you. The jar in the niche holds its amber pulse, not bright, not dim, certain. Every few breaths it deepens. And when it does, the rosemary answers with a soft lift of scent, as though leaf and light were speaking the same language. Your eyes are closed, but the room of your mind is lit well enough to see by. You can see the fountain's arc without opening, a smooth white line that rises to its listening point and descends in kindness. You can see the stream beneath the bridge, 3 notes of here, 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 spelling your name without letters. A hush of fog thickens around the herb beds, climbs the lavender stems, crowns the thyme with pearl, lays a cool kiss along the bench's apron. When it touches your ankles, your blood remembers a gentler pace. 1 step slower, then 1 step more, until every step is a sway. Somewhere within the castle, a mouse decides, finds a crumb, changes its mind, goes another way. You do not hear this, and yet the garden folds a millimeter deeper into stillness, as if applauding the mouse for its wisdom. You draw 1 longer breath, and at the top of it, you pause, not to hold, simply to notice the place where air and body greet each other. Then you let go, and the exhale travels farther than the inhale ever hoped to, down through ribs, out the soles of your feet into the stone that takes it gladly. The cat shifts. Not much. Just enough to tuck its nose beneath its tail. Just enough for its purr to slide 1 note lower, like the last chord of a lullaby. You rest a hand on its back. The small rise and fall answers your palm, an agreement that requires no signature. Above the wall, the moon presses its shoulder to a cloud, then slips free. Then considers slipping back. It does not. It continues. Its light falls in long, polite stripes across the flagstones. And where 1 stripe touches the niche, the jar answers with a long, warm blink. A wordless thought arrives. 10 down to 1. It is not a command. It is a hand extended. You take it. 10 shoulders heavy in the best way, as if someone placed a folded quilt there to keep you from floating away. 9 jaws soft, tongue loose, teeth resting in their quiet white beds. 8 eyes cooling from the inside like cups rinsed in a clear stream and set upside down to dry. 7 breath widening sideways, filling the branches of the ribs, leaving again as if walking a familiar path home. 6. The crown of the head spacious, a skylight open to night air. Nothing caught. 5. Hands warm, palms hollow, fingers uncurled commas in a sentence that needs no more words. 4 hips settled like stones set well by a careful mason, each angle finding its own quiet rightness. 3 calves lengthening in the mind alone, a feeling like roads unrolled. 2 feet remembering the river they came from, soles cooling, arches tall but untensed. 1, you entire, gathered, kept. The counting does not end. It simply forgets to continue, and that forgetting is the point. A lantern drifts at the edge of your hearing. You know it is only flame shifting inside glass, but it sounds like a small boat bumping a friendly dock. The garden is full of docks tonight. Places to tie the rope of yourself and step ashore. You open your eyes for the length of a blink. The chisel stars in the lower wall seem to have learned a new pattern. A curve that begins at the niche, crosses the bench, and climbs the arch of jasmine. You do not try to solve it. You let it solve you. The gardener's small brazier has almost gone to ash. 1. Coal keeps its secret, reddening and dimming, reddening and dimming. The heartbeat of a creature perfectly at peace. You can tell it will last until first bird call, not because you know coals, but because the coal knows morning. A breeze gathers in the corridor you walked earlier, collects the honey and iron, decides they are no longer needed, and leaves them behind. What it carries out to you is only clean night, washed and rinsed and wrung by stars. You take another sip from the well-water cup in memory, though the cup isn't in your hand. The body cannot tell the difference. It receives clear coolness either way, and the mind thanks you with a long, gentle release you feel behind your sternum. A door swung wider, a room aired. Somewhere near the citrus, a leaf loosens its grip and sails. It doesn't fall. It travels. Mid-air, it rotates once, shows both sides of itself, and arrives on stone with a softness earned by the distance. Even the garden's smallest endings are dignified. You wonder for one breath if the queen is awake at a balcony. Perhaps not. The way the garden does not depend on who watches it. It depends on what it keeps, and what it keeps is simple. Water, leaf, light, stone, promise, breath. You match the fountain for a while, not with effort, with affection. Each drop is a friend arriving on time.
Each pool is a table laid modestly and well.
There is a sound the mind makes when it has nothing left to polish. You hear it. It is like velvet being stroked the right direction. It is like flour sifted once more than necessary just because it's a pleasure. The shawl's hem touches your wrist. You feel the seam again, fig into smoke. You understand in your bones that there is no seam at all, only the illusion of two colors meeting. They have always been one fabric. The mind softens that lesson into the place where it stores kindnesses, and something that used to brace gives up its job. Moth returns to the lantern's glass. It does not batter itself against the flame. It reads by it, wing pause, translating light into a language without nouns. You envy it for a heartbeat, then realize you are doing the same. The jar in the niche offers one final ceremony before long rest. Single golden fleck detaches, rises halfway to your knee, hesitates, then draws a tiny circle in the air, a ring no larger than a coin. Inside the ring is nothing at all. Inside the ring is everything you needed. The fleck dissolves. The ring remains in feeling alone, a hush drawn around your night. You lean your head against the wall, until your ear finds the stone's inside voice. It speaks in temperatures more than tones. Warmth from old sun, cool from new fog, a neutral center that neither asks nor refuses. You agree to all three? The nod is from your neck to your heart, and then from your heart to your breath, and then from your breath to the garden, which has been nodding all along. If a thought arrives now, it arrives as weather. Sweeps through, waters a corner, moves on. You do not need a roof against it. You do not need a forecast. You are the field that is glad to be rained on, and just as glad to dry. The cat's purr spaces out, a line of stones across a ford, farther between each step, still sure. When it pauses completely, the pause is a kind of sound, and that sound is called trust. The fog lifts the faintest glitter from the lantern light and lays it over the rosemary like a blessing you can touch. You reach your fingers, stop just short, feel the cool radiance without robbing the sprig. Abundance means you do not have to take. A bell in the village sighs once, then thinks better of waking anyone. You smile with your eyes closed. The night is full of such good decisions. It occurs to you, or rather, it drifts past you, that you could sleep now for an hour or for 10, and the garden would mark neither. It will keep the promise in the niche. It will keep the warmth at your hands. It will keep the path of chisel stars. It will keep the seed it offered you as though you were a seed it hopes will sprout. The night learns one more softness and gives it to you. It is the softness of things that do not need to be named. Things that arrive and settle, the way dust settles on a windowsill lightly, completely, without asking permission. Your breath is slower than the water now. The fountain waits its respectful space between each fall and the next, as if it has promised not to jostle your resting. The shawl cups your collarbones. The bench opens the small of your back like a book and lets the page lie flat. Somewhere, mint gives up a thread of coolness, and your lungs find it, and the coolness chooses you. And the jar's amber seems to have grown a whisper. You don't hear words. You feel a meaning that does not require them, as if the glass is not containing light, so much as remembering a kindness and replaying it at the speed of a heartbeat. The fog over the beds has thickened into velvet. It turns the rosemary into green shadows, the lavender into soft ink strokes, the thyme into a breathing carpet. Where the fog brushes your ankles, your body understands that morning is still far. There is time enough to fall and fall again and never hit anything but rest. The cat has become gravity with fur. Its purr is an unbroken plank laid across the river of night, and you cross it without lifting your feet. Above the wall, the moon has drifted to a quieter angle, not less bright, just more tender. Its light rinses the chisel marks in the lowest stones, and the marks answer by warming a shade no human tool could make. You lift your awareness like a lantern and walk it through the body. The wide field of the scalp, where wind once ran. The temples, cooling as if someone had drawn nighttime across them with a brush. The eyes nestled like lake stones under water. The cheeks, no task left. The mouth, a door quietly resting on its hinges. The tongue loose and lay calm on its floor. The throat, a corridor with no guards left on duty. The chest, rising like a hill where sheep are always safe. The belly, that generous bowl, the hips, 2 stones placed right, the long, easy ropes of the legs, the knees, oiled hinges, the shins, an untroubled road.
At the feet, cool riverbeds that have chosen to be still.
You do not fix anything. There is nothing to fix. You only watch, and watching is the hand that smooths every muscle. A lantern ticks glass, cooling, or a wick remembering its shape. The tiny sound fades into the larger hush and becomes a syllable of that hush. The way a single dot of gold leaf becomes part of a larger illumination. Something loosens in the garden. Not a latch, not a leaf, a held breath. It releases so gently that you would have missed it if your own breath hadn't answered by deepening in gratitude. You notice the faintest warmth on your palms, as if the air had placed fruit there. It is not heat, it is welcome. Your fingers, uncurled and sure, become a bowl that holds what cannot spill. The stream repeats its 3 true notes, here, here, here. And you realize the third here is always wider than the first 2, as if the world is trying to teach mercy by example, somewhere high on the jasmine arch. A small bud that should have waited until tomorrow changes its mind, unties itself from green, and becomes white. No one witnesses this, except the night, and that is audience enough. You might count again, but the numbers arrive already dissolved. And that is better. You could imagine the queen, but she has given you the shawl. Her kindness is already here, not a picture, but a texture. A memory you did not know you were carrying unhooks itself from your ribs and sits beside your feet. Like a traveling companion who has realized the road ahead is safe enough to be walked alone, you nod to it without opening your eyes. It nods back, becomes light, becomes fog, becomes part of the herb beds. The jar offers one long, low glow. It is the color of bread at the exact moment someone decides the crust is perfect and lifts it from the oven. You are not hungry, and yet some part of you is fed. You bring the crown of your head one breath closer to the sky. Nothing moves, everything opens. You let a little more night in. The night, being generous, takes only what you offer and leaves gifts behind. The scent of peel after flame. The faint tin silver taste of moon, a hush with the density of wool. The cat dreams of steps it will not take, or hand which had forgotten it was a hand, remembers and offers one slow arc from ear to shoulder. The cat is a bell that does not ring and still blesses. In the keep, a door knows it is closed, and is content in that knowledge. This is how the night speaks to you now, with facts that do not require fixing. You tilt your attention toward the distance. There is no danger there. There is a path through scrub to the outer wall. Beyond that, fields rinsed in moonwash, and beyond that, forest that hums the syllable that comes before words. The path does not ask for boots. The fields do not ask for scythes. The forest does not ask for courage. Everything in this distance has chosen to be simple for your sake. Return the attention. It obeys easily. It is a trained bird now, and your wrist is a perch it trusts. A night insect tests the lantern glass with one soft tap. It is not trying to enter. It is saying, I am here too. The flame answers by lowering itself one grain. Good. We are many, and we are quiet. If there were a bell now, it would be the size of a teacup rung with one thread. An answer so soft, it would sound like agreement. There isn't a bell, you hear the agreement anyway. In the rosemary's faint exhale, in the stream's patient correction around a twig, in the stone's cool consent beneath your leaning. You tell yourself nothing at all. Instruction is a daylight language. Night uses touch, and the touch is everywhere. Shawl, bench, air, fur, fog. The little glow that knows your name without needing to say it. If you open your eyes now, you would see the chisel stars on the wall have gathered themselves into a curve that is a sentence and a path and a lullaby all at once. You do not open them. Let the sentence be read by another sense, the one that lives where the ribs join, the one that hears without ears. Your breath becomes the garden's larger breath again, not copying, joining. The joins disappear. You are the water lifted and the water laid down. You are the fog rising and the fog resting. You are the ember reddening and quieting and reddening. The cat who purrs and the hand that understands why. A small, almost impossible sweetness arrives on the air. Not honey, not fruit. The The sweetness that happens when people are gentle near you.
Last 3.
Heartbeats. It is enough to make this night infinite. You tip into the last inch before sleep, and there is no edge. It is all cushion. It is all yes. You do not go under. You go through. Through the thin veil the dew has hung for you, through the soft ring the jar drew in the air, through the counting that forgot its numbers and remembered its purpose. On the other side is only more garden. But now it is garden without looking, garden without holding, garden without you as a separate word. You settle like silt in clear water. The water accepts you as a truth it had hoped for. The promise in the niche keeps, the wall keeps, the shawl keeps, the cat keeps, the fountain keeps, the night keeps. And you kept enough to become keeper. Sleep. The garden is so quiet now that quiet itself has a shape. It is a bowl. And you are the water that fits it perfectly. No spill, no seam. The jar's amber holds steady in the niche. A candle that does not burn down. A vow with no frayed edge. Every so often it gathers itself and breathes once a long low glow. The rosemary answers by exhaling a green patient note. The shawl remembers your heat. Then cools in sympathy, then warms again. The tide of cloth. You do not move to adjust it. It adjusts to you, the way old garments learn their owner. The cat has become a small country at rest. Its borders are soft, its weather is always harvest. When your palm returns to its back, a field somewhere gets rain at exactly the right hour. The fountain keeps its ethics. Lift, rest, fall, rest. A sermon on how to be kind to gravity. Every drop is an agreement, and the pool is the signature line. Your eyes stay closed, but sight is not absent. Behind the lids, the garden prints itself in gentle inks. Silver of water, evergreen of leaf, smoke of lantern, honey of niche light. Stone in colors, the word stone rarely earns until midnight. A veil of dew laces the time. Looks like the hem of a dress. Laid carefully over low hills. If you were to lift it, the earth would refuse, preferring to keep its jewelry on a little longer. Somewhere a door within the keep discovers that it never needed to be ajar. It settles into shutness with gratitude, and the grain in its planks lays down the last memory of day. Through the arch, air moves like a librarian quiet, sure. Hand on the spines of things that should not be disturbed. It turns one page of jasmine, and the perfume is a footnote that explains everything. You angle your awareness toward the wall's low chisel stars. They arrange themselves again, not into a word this time, but into a pulse. A rhythm your ribs happily steal. You did not come here to learn a new heartbeat. And yet, the body is a good pupil. When the lesson is mercy, under the little bridge, the stream rehearses its 3-note truth. Here, here, here. On the third here, you remember that now, and home share a door. A thin ribbon of warmth lifts from the brazier bowl, barely coal now, barely ember. It is the temperature of bread remembered, and tea poured in a kitchen that is mostly dark. You breathe it at the end of a longer breath, and discover there is room for one more calm than you realized. The cat's whiskers twitch. In its dream, it is inspecting the moon. It approves. The purr continues unbroken plank over night water. You test the neck. One leaf's width of a tilt, until the bones arrange themselves in a line that says, thank you to the ground. The gratitude is returned with interest. The bench allows another fraction of surrender, and your shoulders find a level that does not exist in daylight. A lantern writes a brief glowing comma on its glass, and then forgets the sentence. How kind to leave meaning unfinished, so sleep may finish it for you. From the citrus, a soft release, not leaf this time, but a single bead of dew descending the arc of a fruit. Pausing at the rind's dimple, deciding to go on. When it lands, the stone does not echo. It blesses. Thought arrives politely at the garden gate, hat in hand. You do not wave it away. Seated on a low wall of memory, offer it a sprig of mint, and leave it there to cool. When you look back, it has become small weather, and the path is clear again. Shadows thicken, not with threat, but with confidence. Where they meet the lantern pools, a quiet negotiation occurs, and both sign. You may have the edges. I will keep the middle. We will share the rest. You count the oranges you can smell, which is different from counting the oranges you can see. One sun kept in a bowl, 2 hands warmed without fire, 3 pill ghosts from ember, 4 summers stored letter to winter. By 5, the numbers ask to be excused, and you grant their leave. The queen returns as if she never left, or perhaps she never did, barefoot still. Hair unpinned, its weight gentler than crowns. She does not speak this time. She simply places a folded linen at the crook of your neck. Not beneath, but near, so your body can decide. It decides yes. Softness is contagious. Her ring touches the shawl, and for a heartbeat gathers moonlight into a coin, then lets it go. She turns, pauses to listen to the fountain, as if to verify a dear friend is still breathing, and vanishes into the corridor's honey-ander and hush. You are alone in the way seeds are alone, surrounded by everything that will help you become exactly what you are already becoming. In the niche, the jar sighs in light. It is the sound of a promise enjoying the fact of being kept. A cricket edits its song to nothing and leaves the silence better than it found it. The wall's interior cool migrates an inch outward, and your cheek drinks from it like a traveler who knew water would be there. It always is. Your breath offers a practice as old as wool and wells, for in counted like stones set well, 6 out counted like leaves that took their time to fall. You do this twice. The 3rd time does itself. The 4th time forgets it is counting and remembers it is kindness. Through your closed eyes, the sky draws a longer line of soft light along the edge of the wall. Not dawn, just the moon changing chairs. Where the line travels, lavender straightens, as if greeted by name. The cat makes a small, satisfied chirr, and pushes its forehead into your shin the way friends had a door they are glad to find open. You answer with a thumb's width of a scratch in the perfect place. It is always the perfect place when you are this unhurried. Consider the corridor of kept songs, its bowls, its oils, the voice that called you traveler. A warmth passes behind your heart like someone lighting a lamp in a neighboring room. You do not go check. You trust the light to be for you, whether or not you see it. The fog lifts a little, not away, up, like a choir rising from kneel to stand. The herbs are revealed in softer edges. Rosemary like tiny firs, thyme like constellations collapse to moss. Mint like a path that has loved many feet and still prefers bare ones. Somewhere under the stream, something shifts in the dark. Stone greeting stone, a conversation older than language. The water does not mind. It knows 1,000 ways around hello. Your body practices belonging by doing nothing, and letting that be plenty. If there were a ledger here, it would show that stillness pays all debts. The lanterns agree to 1 more hour. They do this without flame, the way friends make wagers with a glance. From the arch, air arrives with a taste so small you could miss it. Apple kept in loft rope, a single straw from a summer cart. Harvest remembered by breath alone. It sits in your mouth like a story. You don't have to tell to be true. Let your awareness unbutton another inch. It is not exposure, it is relief. Under it, the heart stretches in place like a cat in sun and becomes very good at yes. The jar performs a ceremony for one. Its glow thins to honey, then to tea, then to straw in sun, then to colorless, which is not absence but trust, then returns to amber. With the ease of a tide finding shore in the dark, you do not applaud. You rest, and the resting's applause enough.